Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party. We are at a historic moment in history. Our president, Donald J. Trump, has been impeached in the House. But you Republicans are sitting pretty. Don't have to worry much because the Senate pretty much is in his pocket. So much so that Mitch McConnell said he's working with Donald Trump through the next phase, which will be Senate hearing. The actual trial period. So I'm not embarrassed. I think this was going to happen. I predicted it would happen. I'd say, 3.5 years ago, 6 months before he even became president, I said if Donald Trump becomes president, he would be impeached. And the reason why I said that is because he was being investigated for Russian involvement even before the election. We knew about it. Now, ironically, Russian involvement is not part of the impeachment process. For some reason, Nancy Pelosi has chosen to go with articles of impeachment that are not related to that. You see, Russian hacking and election interference really did happen, but they didn't even use that to construct these two articles of impeachment, obstruction of Congress and abuse of power. So they're going with a couple of simple concepts where what Trump did recently with Ukraine is really the problem, because they don't think they have enough with the Mueller report, which shows Russian interference and election interference, Russian hacking. Now, the problem with the Mueller report, they haven't even talked about it. I've been looking for the 9% that was redacted in any reveal to the American people, and not one person, one news agency has discussed it, except for this story. Vox.com has shown you that the redacted Mueller report looks like that. And all the black marks are the areas they didn't want you to know about. And they totaled those up, and those areas were all about, the redactions were mostly about Russian interference, Russian hacking, election interference. So, according to this, 7.25% was redacted. I heard 9% was redacted, but we never found out what that was. So I'm wondering why all of this is being ramrodded through the Senate now, with just this to go with it. So I'm suggesting that maybe Nancy Pelosi could grow a brain cell and order a second round of hearings for the House and put together two more articles of impeachment if these two don't stick. I don't see how this technique would be illegal. There's nothing wrong with them having a second round of impeachment hearings while the Senate is deciding on these two. Now, it's been said that the Senate has already decided they're not going to impeach Donald Trump fully, so he will remain our president. But the American people haven't been made aware that Mitch McConnell, the lead guy in the Senate, is actually working for Russians. The American people haven't heard this. But all kinds of studies have been done on this. PolitiFact.com studied Mitch McConnell's donators, and one of his biggest donor, not his biggest donor, is a sanctioned Russian oligarch who also donates to Lindsey Graham. Here he is in the middle, talking to Alan Dershowitz and Lindsey Graham. The guy in the middle is Len Blavatnik. The guy works for Oleg Deripaska, the guy, remember him, who apprehended Nastia, the mistress that he had that was going to tell the whole thing and provide proof that Russia hacked our election. Well, ironically, Oleg Deripaska's guy, Len Blavatnik, has been priming the pockets of Lindsey Graham, who got nearly $3 million over 5 years, and Mitch McConnell, who got nearly $3 million over 3 years. So if the Republicans find this out, then start dealing with that, that may be a major turning point in this impeachment process. Either way, we're going to sit back and watch. How's everybody doing? It's embarrassing for U.S. citizens to see this. I think it's the best thing our country could ever have, considering Donald Trump has destabilized foreign policy with quite a bit of shenanigans on Twitter. Not to mention his actions against China with the arrest of the Meng, the woman who's the CFO of Huawei, the telecommunications giant. All that's caused nothing but a rift between the U.S. and China. We'll get to that later, but here's Donald Trump's Monopoly game card. It's good to be the president. It's a get-out-of-jail-free card, so he will possibly have to use this. And if this was Monopoly, he'd be winning. So we'll see if the story of these two obstruction charges and abuse of power charges actually stick. It looks like the Democrats don't have nearly enough votes to make this happen, but the one good thing is that if they get 3 Republicans to flip on the rules of engagement during this next phase with the Senate over the next month, if they do a secret ballot, they need 3 Republicans to flip to the Democrats to do a secret ballot. If they do that, that could mean a secret ballot would be all the Republicans need to oust the problem, the big tumor in the office right now. To pull the tumor out. Yeah. Moscow Mitch has a history of problems, stifling legislation. They call him Moscow Mitch because he works for Moscow. But he basically stiffed the Kentucky coal miners. He stiffed Kentucky coal miners fund Russia-linked aluminum plant. McConnell doesn't like his Moscow Mitch nickname, but these latest revelations might make it difficult to shed. Thanks for the story. He blocked a measure that would have funded pensions and health care for coal miners in his home state of Kentucky not long after steering almost the same Treasury Department funds to an aluminum plant linked to a Russian oligarch. Whoa. So it may come down to Moscow Mitch being on trial right now in the public opinion polls. Kentucky senator is notorious for doing this stuff. And according to this article Max just brought up, Moscow Mitch is, in fact, a Russian asset. Okay, I can't link that right now, but let's see if I can open it up in an incognito channel. Sometimes I'll get past the barriers. There it is. He's a Russian asset. Wow. This doesn't mean he's a spy, but neither is it a flip accusation. Russia attacked our country in 2016. It attacked us today. Its attacks will intensify in 2020. Yet each time we try to raise our defenses to repel the attack, McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, blocks us from defending ourselves. Wow. Let's call it what it is, unpatriotic. Kentucky Republican is arguably more than any other American doing Russian President Vladimir Putin's bidding. Well, I think Trump's doing a pretty good job of that too. Now, let me give you some time. You Republicans want to talk. If Donald Trump survives impeachment, then he will continue to win the next election. It's all psychology. Mr. Chopsticks. Wow, okay. I notice how none of you care about the fact that I don't get any representation in the media. I notice you don't give a crap about the fact that I'm censored. That you simply want to endorse a guy who stole 15 of my ideas, Donald Trump. It's amazing to me how you literally come in here acting like I should just be the flower on the wall, and Donald Trump is your big guy with all the great ideas, when he's the guy who took my ideas to get elected. It's fascinating. You know, if Donald Trump is now impeached and he's looking for some leniency, I have not been on record saying that I would charge him with more crimes. I have not said that. And I believe that leniency might be in order here. I believe that Donald Trump is extremely guilty of one thing. Extreme greed. He's very bigly greedy. Incredibly bigly greedy. I think his biggest problem is he wants to pat his own pockets at the expense of the American people. I really do. I think it's one of the reasons why he's gotten into all these secret connections to fund money. Let's not forget that he rose from the ashes during the 2008 mortgage debacle with lots of cash. And he didn't have any credit at the time. His credit was drying up, but he all of a sudden appeared and to buy buildings with big suitcases full of cash. That looks like in 2008, Donald Trump was working with Russian oligarchs to get a lot of money. And we know from his son, Eric, who bragged on a golfing course before Donald Trump became elected and said that Russia has given the Trumps a $100 million line of credit. And that's a fact. 2 people can corroborate that. So Russia gave him a $100 million line of credit just to play around and to meet his basic needs. You can't tell me Russia isn't powering up his entire financial thing. But we know emphatically that Donald Trump has a $1 billion loan with Deutsche Bank, which is underwritten by a Russian oligarch. That much we do know. But we still don't know what is in his 10 years of taxes, which for some reason he refuses to show us, which means he's probably guilty. He's acting like a guilty person. Everything he does appears to be a guilty person. He's saying that Every one of those people that testified against him, all 12 that said there was a quid pro quo, everyone was a bad person, he said. He attacked everybody. They're all bad people. They're all trying to bad people. Well, it turns out Yovanovitch was actually trying to do the right thing and stand up to unnecessary abuse of power by Donald Trump, and that's why she was called a bad person. She wasn't a bad person. She was a career diplomat that worked for various both left and right political movements. She simply did her job, and she was called out as a bad person. Eric Trump is disgusting insofar as he bragged about a $100 million line of credit. You'd think that would have popped up in this impeachment trial. You'd think that Russian hacking and election interference would pop up, but you guys, I want to give you guys a gift right now. In Nancy Pelosi's infinite stupidity, she's decided not to mention this stuff. So you guys in the Republican Party, you get a pass, okay? Congrats. It may not be so bad. I mean, think about it. You got Nancy Pelosi in your pocket now doing your bidding. She's an absolute idiot for not putting together more impeachment charges. So rest assured, most likely the senators will do exactly what the Russians tell them to do and keep Donald Trump in power. Most likely. Well, Donald Trump put 6 billionaires in the White House, in the cabinet, while he said he's draining the swamp. That's totally ridiculous. He's building a snake pit now. He drained the swamp in order to build a snake pit. You know, I saw Ivanka's interview with trashy pervert Howard Stern, and I can tell you it's not going to help her interviewing that guy. Well, if they're dating, I don't really know. I thought Howard was married. Okay. I think she's married too. Jared and she have a loving relationship. They're both proud Jewish attendees at the Shabbat Leibovitch, which incidentally was the same place that Donald Trump met all those Russian oligarchs, the Zionist oligarchs that gave him all that money. Yes, Shabbat Leibovitch is a good place to meet lots of people. You can meet a lot of people with a lot of money from Russia. And that's how Donald Trump got all that money. We know the origins of all the money and the kickbacks. Donald Trump says it's all fake news, it's all a scam, it's all a hoax. You guys got any more than that? That's all you got to defend him? Is it's all a scam, it's all a Russian hoax? I think the Senate Republicans should get little signs and stand up there and go, it's all a Russian hoax, you know? And just hold the signs up in the hearings. That would be a great defense, wouldn't it? Donald Trump is the only person in the world who's ever used the defense, he's innocent because they're investigating him. Oh, they're investigating me. I'm innocent. Clearly, it's a witch hunt. They're attacking me. Nothing's real. It's all fake news. No, the Senate, the House has done deep investigations. They know that the Russians invested a lot in our election. Even Lindsey Graham has said openly that the Russians affected the election. He said 1,000 times over, it's for sure. So I would predict, once Lindsey Graham realizes his connection to Russia is now out in the open, and once Mitch McConnell realizes his connection to Russia is now out in the open, they're going to probably be the 2 or 3 Republicans that'll flip and make this a secret ballot. That's what I predict. And I honestly say that a secret ballot's the best way to go. No one will know what everybody voted for, so everybody can vote their conscience without having anyone to know what they voted for. It's really the way to go to ensure a good, solid final vote here. And I'm almost sure Trump will be impeached then. All right. I will say anything, and I hear whatever you want to say. Hillary was never charged with a crime. Donald Trump had 3 years to charge Hillary with a crime. So you QAnoners, just bag it. You're so brain dead to believe that CIA tripe about QAnon, Donald Trump fighting the deep state. He hasn't prosecuted one person in the deep state. Not one. You're not going to believe this, but we're going to now break to InfoWars. No, we're not, actually. We're going to get out of the impeachment room. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important announcement. I'm in the impeachment room. You're listening to David Sponheim, America's Third Party. Okay, I need a background. Oh, you know, that would be a kind of a trip, wouldn't it, if we actually had a real Earth that looked like this? Well, it does look like this. The Earth looks like this. It doesn't have the perfect look like they show. It's kind of lopsided. But don't feel bad. We're not perfect. But the Earth really isn't what you think it is. I hate to blow your bubble, but the good news, this is not in any way a flat Earth, okay? We're like all the other planets in the entire universe. I know some of you flat earthers are freaking out right now. And this beautiful biosphere is something we need to protect, and we're not doing that. This is real. Yeah, this is not recorded. Let's take a look at Bloomberg and Steyer are showing money doesn't matter much in politics. Really? Okay. We're going to talk about the waste on the planet tonight, the pollution. Yeah. Don't knock a third party. It might be the only good option. Daily Beast. All right, let's take a look at this story first. Now, I want to take your mind off the impeachment thing. We don't need to dwell on that. Uh-oh. Let's see if I can do this again. Open up incognito and let's see if it'll work. Yeah, it does. So don't knock a third party. It might be the only good option. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. With every election, voter dissatisfaction grows more pronounced as the Democrats and Republicans fail to deliver good government and the personal responsibility that goes with it. Denial believes that Trump broke the law and he needs prison, not just impeachment. You know, I'm going to keep that option open. If I get chosen as vice president, I may have to pull a Gerald Ford. I don't want to do that. I don't want to pre-commit to that. Well, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, the thing is, I've never been approached by Donald Trump. He's never actually, he reached out in our chat room a couple times and chatted with us, if I can believe that. But I've never actually been called and approached, even though he took 12 or 15 of my ideas. Yeah, so I'm going to keep that as an open-ended question right now. Democrats are understandably fearful of the centrist message of Howard Schultz will appeal to voters. Well, Schultz dropped out of the race, and this is about 8 months old. We're still looking for a third party, though. Why not? Okay, we'll go to the Bloomberg story now. Okay. So Bloomberg and Steyer are not making big headway. They've announced their runnings. They're both billionaires, like Trump, probably with more money than Trump. It's difficult to remember who Tom Steyer is. The answer is, if your memory needs a jog as much as mine, a billionaire finance guy who numbers among the infinite Democratic candidates hoping to challenge Trump in 2020. Yeah, it's not really a big thing going on here. Steyer has dropped around $46 million on TV ads already, and he still hasn't made a big polling presence, more than 1.7%. Wow. Holy moly. I remember Steve Forbes spent $57 million. So he's getting near Steve Forbes' numbers. And then I guess Bloomberg just put his name out there and they gave him an instant 8% or 9% of the vote. I guess you get that when you put millions of dollars into an advertising campaign. All right. Now the Republicans I'm still waiting for them to actually prosecute Joe Biden, but they haven't done anything. It turns out that Giuliani's, most of his testimony recently about Joe Biden has been predicated on this guy. The former general prosecutor of Ukraine who was kicked out of his job by Zelensky. Yuri Lutsenko, the prosecutor general, former, he basically will say anything they say to anybody to get noticed and get a free plane ticket. So we're going to it's going to be a hard swing for Giuliani to get anything to stick with this guy. Everybody in the field says he's completely viable. So that's probably why Donald Trump hasn't prosecuted anybody like Joe Biden's son, Hunter. There's been no charges filed by either Giuliani or Trump. Of course, William Barr has to do that for him, but he hasn't done anything other than attack maybe a few FBI agents. I have not lost the chat. I'm still here. Absolutely. The Republicans have every right to impeach whoever they want. Absolutely. You guys have to understand, you Republicans can't cheat with Russia's help and not face the music. Okay, Greta is now in the news again. I know, as we didn't want to talk about that. Greta Thunberg is named one of the top 10 most influential people in science in 2019 for channeling the rage of a generation. What a crock of crap. Yeah, you want to talk about a waste. An entire generation of people, that's a waste. Snowflakes like Greta are getting great acclaim for having said, we care about the environment, but none of them talk about chemtrails. Yeah. Chemtrails over waters makes me toxic. I'd love to hear more about that stuff. But neither Greta or anyone else talks about the weather modification that's going on right under our nose. And people are talking about it. I've got a website called Chemtrail Party you can check out. It's really good to get information on that. More and more people are waking up to this. Here's 4 technologies that are tackling the problem of plastic pollution in rivers. Now remember I talked to you about there's 10 major rivers in the world. They're the most toxic of all. And here's portable technology being developed. Mr. Trash Wheel collects river plastic in Baltimore. Isn't that cool? Now we can probably export these technologies to other countries and maybe make some money doing it. Cleaning up rivers for other countries might be a profitable mechanism. Most ocean plastic starts off in rivers. If we can deal with those 10 really critical bad rivers, there's no telling what we could fix. Because little animals like turtles get caught in the nets, and we don't want nets. We want real technology that'll fix this. All right. Thanks for that. Well, we got more stuff from Drag King on the polluted environment. That's your focus, Drag King. I know that. I see that. Well, there are a lot of people that pollute in my area. They fill up dumpster bags full of plastic waste on the highways 5 times a year where I live. And I live in one of the most beautiful places in the country, as opposed to this. People actually bathing with dead bodies in the Ganges River. This has got to turn your stomach. Yeah. Oh, don't get near. That is Uncle Yuri cannot come near us. Uncle Yuri, push him back into the water. Feces abounds all over the Ganges River. You know that 500 million people in India are still defecating and urinating outside? 500 million people are still squatting outside, and there's just piles of crap everywhere. We have a big problem, but it's not their crap, it's pollution. Pooping is not the big problem, I'm telling you. We need composting of poop, poopy whoopy compost. But the real problem is toxic waste. Plastic, old TVs breaking down, like in the Yangtze River in China. There is a tremendous amount of cathode ray tubes sitting there bleaching cadmium and heavy metals into the water. It's terrible. So we've got to start dealing with the critical pinch points, I call them. And those pinch points, if we solve those problems, don't even bother with cap and trade legislation. That's a crock of crap. That's like playing Monopoly. That's not going to solve the problem in the long run. The global elitists want to push cap and trade with Greta and all that, and carbon pricing and all that. That's just a waste of time. To their best estimates, they say they're going to reduce greenhouse gases by 17% by 2030. That's if every country in the world signs on to this. But so far, only 13% of the world's countries have signed on to this. Most of them are just so poor they won't even be, they can't even pay into the system. So of course they signed on to it. I'm sure they got Nigeria and Zimbabwe to sign on. But the reality is these countries are not the big superpowers that will not sign on to this crap. The monopoly game called carbon point legislation, carbon pricing. So the elitists have put together a failed policy of getting rid of greenhouse gases, which frankly is not the biggest problem. Plastic waste is. Our shores are piling up with plastic waste. So are the countries that are now refusing it at their doors. Some boats are dumping plastic waste into the ocean. So it's floating everywhere, and it's landing on the shores in Manila. I understand Dominican Republic has got shores covered with plastic waste. We need to solve that problem with innovation. So why not use that river device that you sent me and make that happen? Sounds like a good idea. All right, thanks for sharing your concern about the Indian situation. So Moscow Mitch will be the defining determiner if Donald Trump is misusing his power. If only the Russian connection was in the impeachment articles. What was Nancy thinking? It's hard to understand what she was even thinking. Okay, scientists are finding a cheaper way to make hydrogen out of water. Normally hydrolysis is used with electric currents going into the water. Let's see what they're doing now. We are in Wasteful Wednesday, by the way. Hydrogen-powered cars may soon become more than just a novelty after a team of scientists demonstrated a much cheaper and sustainable way to create hydrogen required to power them. In this research out of Sydney, Australia, University of Technology, Griffith University showed capturing hydrogen by splitting it from oxygen and water can be achieved by using low-cost metals like iron and nickel as catalysts, which speed up this chemical reaction while requiring less energy. Excellent. Iron and nickel, which are found in abundance on Earth, would replace precious metals ruthenium, platinum, and iridium that up until now are regarded as benchmark catalysts. So, hey, yeah, right on, man. Iron and nickel. Perfect. I would think iron would rust, though, but whatever. Electric charge is water splitting. Two electrodes passing an electric charge to water enables hydrogen to split with oxygen and used as energy in a fuel cell. That's really good. Well, that's good news. See, we've got some good news tonight about splitting H2O. We're on to something. David, you know the Jersey City shooting was done by a black nationalist group called Hebrew and Israelites? That's what the CIA wants us to believe. Yeah, the FBI and the CIA are on task to do this. Yeah, they want us to believe the black African Hebrew Israelites are behind it. Black nationalists. Yeah, that's the story they wanted to blame. Yeah, Stanley Meyer had a solution back in the 1970s. Brilliant man. No, I'm not into that kind of stuff. Sorry. Europe pledges carbon neutrality by 2050, but it can get one of its biggest coal users on board? Really? Okay. You're really hitting the scientific stuff here. Again, it hits me with another barrier. Whew. Every time I open up a page, I have to open it up incognito by going Shift-Control-N on my Chrome browser, and it'll open it up. Europe pledges carbon neutrality by 2050, but it can't get one of its biggest coal users on board. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, we're wasting our time with the Europeans trying to push for carbon point taxation. Number one, whenever we have a global world authority tell us what we all have to do, China doesn't want to sign, India doesn't want to sign. Why don't these people just give it up? That'd be a better idea. Give up your big carbon point pricing legislation and start innovating and solving the problem. That's my big point, my big push.
Amber wants to be fed.
Okay, I'm going to feed Amber. We're going to go back to our main room. Sarah is here. We're going to, I just want to reiterate that the impeachment vote came through today.
So they did impeach him?
Yeah, they did impeach him.
So now they got to go to Senate. I mean, it may end up just being like Trump, where he was impeached but not removed from office.
Right.
But maybe
You never
20
know.
Republicans will change their minds.
I think 15 Republicans have to change their minds, and 3 in order to set the rules for secret voting. Then we'd probably see a secret vote. If 3 Republicans switched their votes right now and said, let's do a secret ballot, that would be all they need to really get everybody to completely, make a private commitment to decide for themselves whether Donald Trump is the right guy for the job. Now, I've openly said that I would prefer Pence as president, even though we've got Trump and his replacement is Pence. I would prefer Pence simply because he's less likely to tweet a lot. I'm kind of tired of the tweeting.
What is QE? I know I probably should know that.
Where?
An impeachment, record stock market, and QE in the same day. What are the odds?
Oh, where's the story?
Please, Mr. David typed it in.
Okay. We got pigs dying from Ebola.
Quarterly earnings.
Quarterly earnings.
That's probably what QE is. Quarterly earnings. I bet that's it.
Well, yeah, the turtle, Mitch McConnell, we call him Moscow Mitch, is working for a Russian oligarch. We know that. We also know that Lindsey Graham's working for a Russian oligarch, but nobody else in the country knows that. Our show is the only one that talks about it anywhere in the country. And I've got more than enough links to prove Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell are working for this guy.
Quantitative easing.
Yes.
Oh.
They juice up the stock market by doing that.
Wait, why would they need to juice up the stock market if it's hitting an all-time high? Never mind.
Well, they want more inflation, ironically. This is the guy that funds Lindsey Graham, Len Blavatnik. He works for Oleg Deripaska. You probably heard his name before. Well, that's the Russian oligarch that works with Russia and Trump. Well, Len Blavatnik is giving Lindsey Graham up to $3 million, has so far for re-election. And he's also given Mitch McConnell about $3 million. And Mitch McConnell's been doing all kinds of things to support Moscow. That's why they call him Moscow Mitch. Okay, I'm going to pull the articles of impeachment down so you guys don't have to get depressed by it. I know a lot of Republicans watch our show. Obstruction of Congress is down, and abuse of power is down, and the impeachment is down. Let's start as if Donald Trump has a fresh start, and he does in a way, because the Senate will probably just get, ramrod this through with Russia's help and make sure everything goes away. Because Russia doesn't want to lose power. They like having Donald Trump as president and agent. Thank you. I'll feed Amber.
Yes, Amber would love that. Impeachment's not important. Feeding the cat, that's important. No, I actually very glad. Actually, the thing is, you know what I haven't had in a very long time? Mexican food. Like, well, that's true. I have had a Mexican restaurant near me, but back in the summer, I don't know. It's not that great, but yeah, I should agree. Mexican food is good. So impeached for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. And according to the New York Times, the Republican Party is completely behind Trump. Wall Street Journal, the impeachment folly. Is it possible for Trump to face prison time if he's removed from office and he's committed a crime? Then yes, I have done Hour of Code introducing kids to computer programming. I've done that since 2003, and this is the first year where I finally feel like I've gotten other teachers in my building to really do that. Well, I guess, yeah, because he hasn't been removed from office, please, Mr. David. He's been impeached, which basically it's like charged. But then some could say, well, that's like innocent until proven guilty, and then he has to be proven guilty in the Senate. And the Senate would vote to remove from office. But most people think he won't be removed from office because the Republican Party basically controls the Senate. I don't know, Hot Rails. I didn't know how that person dressed. Are you sure that's a bathroom attendant? Oh, goodness. Oh, sorry, Maxell Credit. You can count my yawns all you want. Whatever. Whatever. Four. You could have counted that as 5, I guess, but... Yawning is what kind of symptom? I agree, please, Mr. David. If David had just one, we wouldn't be having these problems. Stop it, you're yawning as well. I agree, please, Mr. David. Sorry. It's hard not to yawn. It's a symptom that I need something, more oxygen. Maybe. I need sleep. Maybe that's what I need. It means I need sleep. The house is going to say they're censored and come do a show on Vaughn every night. Yeah, because that's where everybody goes who's censored. It's like the thing to do. Well, maybe there is no correlation, Hot Rails. Just between David and Cleaver's dull. You're up at 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. You're being probed? What, did you have a colonoscopy or something? Yay, 590. In a Senate trial, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said that Republicans will seek to dismiss the impeachment charges against Trump immediately after hearing opening statements. His remarks came from the Senate floor on Tuesday. As a model for a proposed trial of Trump, the Majority Leader said he was using the 1999 Senate trial of Clinton. Ooh, bladder penile probe. Oh my goodness. Did they have to do bladder scope or something? Oh. You would broadcast short video teasers on TikTok. That's a good idea. I always say that and then I never follow up on things, but I really should. Yeah, you're right. I have heard TikTok videos. David got rid of all my sticky notes in here. I'm going to have to bring a thing of sticky notes. That's what David needs. David needs some sticky notes. Like just difference needed. Chat live nightly. America's Third Party.com. Like that short. Change is needed. Chat live nightly. Yeah, I believe it. Yes, I'll vote for David in 2020. What about you, Hula Mula? Actually, I should say it more like, I can't wait to vote for David Swanheim in 2020. I should spend my holiday season creating a TikTok video for him. How am I scaring you being overly friendly? I admit that I not only look like a hippie, I kind of am a hippie. I came from a hippie family, so. No, I don't smoke pot. But people around me smoke pot, and it is a legal state I live in. Yeah, okay, 590. How? TikTok video? Oh, major vote? Is there a major vote on carbon emissions coming up? Is it HR 763? TikTok is China-based data gathering. Okay. Nowhere near close. 590. I wish I could say he was, but nope. Not unless I work like 2 or 3 decades, invest all of my money, and then give it all to David. That's the only way that can happen. Oh, yes, I know. You're right. Well, I think Dave would disagree with you, maxed out credit, but I'm just here. Yeah, I agree. I don't like the smell of marijuana. Well, I don't mind it, I guess. But sometimes it's strong and yeah. I don't smoke it or do anything, so anyway. Well, I'm working on it. You would think, Vinny. I don't know. I don't know if that will. A 7-year-old boy in a domestic violence shelter writes a heartbreaking letter to Santa. Dear Santa, we had to leave our house. Dad was mad. We had to do all the chores. Dad got everything he wanted. Mom said it was time to leave and she would take us to a safer place where we don't have to be scared. I'm still nervous. I don't want to talk to the other kids. Are you going to come this Christmas? We don't have any of our stuff here. Can you bring some chapter books? A dictionary? And a compass? And a watch? I also want a very, very, very good dad. Can you do that too? Aww. It was out of Fort Worth, Texas. Well, maybe he is Hula Mula. I don't need to talk about that. Hey, you're looking for Joe. Well, you've met me, Sarah, and David's in the other room. I don't know about Joe. If it says Ekval. Well, maybe it's the other way around, Hula Mula. Maybe you should change the words. Why is Sarah not? Maybe I'm in charge of things. You asked Santa for a fat bank account and a slim body this year, and you reminded him not to mix it up. Slim bank account and fat body, that's funny. I disagree, Drag King. That's horrible. No, I never saw that. Hot Rails. Wow, that's awesome. Great deal at Walmart, an i5 650 for $99 Canadian. Well, maybe I will celebrate Hula Mula. I'm very excited about the impeachment, but of course, I know Final Dream is a big fan of Trump, so. Anyway. You're killing lobsters for New Year's Eve this year? Wow. In the face of climate change, the internet is unsustainable. As far as environmental damage is concerned, our increasingly online lives incur a massive toll. If everything continues on its current course, then the internet is expected to generate about 20%. The internet is 20% of the world's carbon emissions by 2030. That would make its environmental impact worse than any individual country on Earth, except for the US, China, or India. In other words, our internet use is linked to a vicious cycle of environmental devastation, making it increasingly clear that something has to give. Wow. Yeah, I bet it's Bitcoin mining, exactly. Slimmed down. Aside from transitioning to a web powered by renewable energy, experts and activists pointed out to the New Republic some major ways to cut back on the internet's carbon emissions. Among them, removing online ads and behind-the-scenes tracking tools, and stemmed the rise of energy-intensive video streaming services. Servers are in the cold region of the Earth to maximize profit, reducing AC costs. Therefore, we are heating the cold zones. It's so evident. The new model. The main challenge, of course, is that filling web pages with ads and extracting personal data from users are the two main business models that sustain the internet. In other words, getting rid of adverts and surveillance would simultaneously improve the internet and make it greener, but would also make it much harder to fund. We have to rethink how we get our information and how we access it. Tim Frick, CEO of an eco-friendly digital agency called Mighty Bytes, told the New Republic. Prepare yourself for the tsunami of data expected to hit by 2025. Siberia was a tundra desert. Now we have artificial cities every 10 miles with huge underground data centers. Wow. And Charlie says Google is one of the biggest offenders. In Siberia, no, because it's cold. It's not because it's hard to hack. It's because it's cold and servers generate heat, and so they have to stay, usually you have to keep them cool. But ironically, if you turn off a computer, it's very hard to start up in a cold environment. Yeah.
All right, I'll take over now. I made some vegetables if you want any hot vegetables in there, but just a few. If you want me to help yourself, finish them. Just some greenery for you.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much for helping. And
you're welcome.
Rest up, get some music on, enjoy the evening.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, I would. You've been working hard, boy. It's colder. It's actually pretty mild weather we're having, but it's still cold, December day. Google is not very Christmassy. Merry Christmassy. Well, yeah. Are they not committing to Christmas because it's politically incorrect to have a Christmas? I have to laugh. If the Democrats had their way, none of us would have a Christmas. We'd have a holiday. 20 here, Mr. David, not good. No, Mark is keeping the numbers down. It's not a matter of numbers of people here. You got to understand, Mark has been censoring our show for a long, long time. Yeah, he gets paid to keep the numbers limited in the room. We draw a huge crowd at overseas. Our UHF repeaters that are sending the signal out across the globe are reaching people all around the world. We have a worldwide audience. Trump Tardo was in here last night talking about how people in local areas, cable TV used to draw 300,000. We draw 300 million viewers every day. So don't kid yourself. This room is just a select group of people that have been allowed in here by Mark. Yeah, I've got 110 guests in our room right now. Look at that. The metrics are much higher, too. The number of views we've had, that's a false number, 1,150,000 views. We've had close to 700, maybe even more, 700 million views. So Mark's got all these numbers tweaked, but we still have 107 viewers right now over there that can't even come in the show because he outlawed guest chat. Yeah, we've got a lot of people that would love to chat here. Yeah, regardless, but the worldwide audience that watches our show is interested because what they know what happens in America will affect the rest of the world. They're all interested. Yeah, I heard the Republicans and myself are right. We are entering an ice age. So I'm not quite like the Republicans in that they reject climate change completely. I see climate problems happening all over the place, but mostly because of chemtrails. And the Republicans and Democrats won't even discuss chemtrails. So it's kind of an ironic twist that I'm the third party guy trying to talk about the elephant in the closet. Yeah. I think a mini ice age on Earth is expected too. We're in that same 25,000 year period. We're beginning the 25,000 year cycle. Or at the end of a 25,000 year cycle between ice ages. So it's the alignment of our Earth with the Milky Way and the Sun. All of that's changed slightly. And when that happens, polarity shifts occur and our country and our world becomes a lot colder. So we can almost rely on that. The sun is always cooling down. Yeah, it's slowly depleted every year. In a few 100 million years, we're going to have to find a new place to live. But right now, I kind of like to make this Earth a little bit better, as long as I'm here. I think that we've failed as a planet to protect the small creatures beneath us, the other Earthlings. I think we've done a pretty bad job of that. I think the global extinction rate has increased rapidly since humankind in the industrial age, and we haven't done anything to correct it because we allowed the very same people that created all this pollution to rule our monetary supply and tell us that we need to start doing cap and trade legislation. So the very people that have polluted the entire world are now trying to tell us, oh, you need to start worrying about your farts. That's important. We should need to start thinking about how much flatulence. I wouldn't doubt the Democrats are going to come out with a butt plug for all of us that measures our carbon footprint out of our butt. They're that completely confused about what's really happening. We don't need to worry about carbon on our planet, folks. We really don't. We have 0.038% carbon in our atmosphere. It's not going to choke us off unless you wrap your lips around a diesel exhaust pipe and start breathing. That'll kill you. We need to start focusing on plastic waste, microplastic, getting in our livers, getting in our lungs, charred, nanofibers, the things that they're spraying above us. We need to focus on that. And I need to get my chemtrail video out because I've switched hard drives and it's important that I have that. I can't live without it. I need my chemtrail video. The ultimate chemtrail video. Here it is. You can see the spray patterns that are coming across the skies. Scissorfight did a great video just the other day from California, and it was in real time. And it showed the planes just spewing these things out of their nozzles that come off the edge of their engines. And this is, of course, time-lapse, but you can see this is not condensation, folks. Don't let the BSers tell you this is condensation. These are actual chemicals they're dumping on our heads. Just thought I'd remind you. Thank you. You watched the Discovery Channel story about how the government has photos of alien bases in the dark side of the moon. Yeah, that's a lot of BS. I saw the same story. I think it's an NSA story that some guy constructed. That the government somehow went to the moon and all this crap. Yeah. That's a NASA thing, right? They claim we went to the moon. Okay, sure. But we weren't able to actually take a picture of the Earth when we were over there? Ah, I see. There's only one single picture of what they claim is the Earth in a distance shot on the moon. I find that rather interesting. And it's a small little dot. It's not even in high quality clarity. Yet the moon landing itself in '69 had all kinds of capabilities. They could actually take really good quality color photography. We're almost at a pinnacle at that time in photography, where we could have done an incredibly, the resolution could have been immense. The Earth picture would have been amazing. But oh no, they didn't plan on taking a picture of the Earth while over there. Sure. It's a stock photo of the Earth. Yeah, the same thing. It matches the stock photo. And the stock photo is the blue marble. We've seen a lot of debunking stories about this, about how much money we've wasted on NASA. If you average out $20 billion a year for the past 20 years, that's a lot of money. $400 billion over the past 20 years have gone into NASA. And we've seen a lot of fakery coming out of the NASA operation, too. NASA was busted photographing in Greenland. We've talked about that show before. NASA admitted that they can't send humans into the atmosphere yet. They haven't been able to do that. Yet we have photographs from the dark side of the moon? Really? I've heard about that. I don't have it in front of me, though, but I've seen the photograph that you're referring to. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with the alien story. Let's move on. 3 ways the DoD is exploring the use of 5G. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is what we've been talking about. The 5G network, untested, being deployed across the country without our approval or even a peer-reviewed study on the safety and efficacy of it. Waiting. Carriers, test equipment, 5G. They're already going on around the world. Huawei is installing 5G everywhere. Some people say birds die around these things, and even bees have been known to drop out of the sky when these things are active. But the DoD is exploring the use of 5G, and I don't approve of this. I think it's a big mistake, but they're going to do it anyway. 2 smart warehouse and asset management projects are being done by the Marine Corps Logistics Base in Albany, Georgia, and the U.S. Naval Base in San Diego, California. They're going to use 5G to support a warehouse management system. Oh, how nice. Well, hopefully none of the military personnel will die from brain tumors. Hope not. Although everything that happens is completely a military secret, so we would not know. I'm saying the ISS is probably not real. No. The International Space Station might exist because there was a lot of work with Russia. We developed a space station out there, but I don't think the filming is being done there. I think it's being done in an underwater filming studio. NASA has put a lot of money into this. Plato talked about moon bases 2,500 years ago. Really? Okay, so you're adding some credence to that possibility. Sure. We know that the moon is always facing away from us, and there's an area we can't see. This is a ray of a bright hope for Russia, for the UK. Boris Johnson is going to investigate George Soros for his anti-Brexit activity. And Russia may have been involved in the original Brexit vote, too. So Boris Johnson is trying to do the work that the people are asking him to do. Very interesting. An urgent investigation has been called by the Conservative Party earlier last month into liberal billionaire philanthropist George Soros after it was revealed that he had funneled around $4 million into an anti-Brexit cause in the UK. See, George Soros is trying to manipulate the governments of the UK and the US and continues to do this, and our country should be putting things in place to stop this. Nobody should be allowed to pay rioters like he has with the Occupy movement and the MoveOn.org organization. I mean, this is ridiculous. And now you're saying they're going to do that with... Oh, you're talking about the Hasselblad resolution was greater than 400 megapixels with a 72 millimeter Kodak film, and still no good photos, right, of the moon. Well, I challenge anybody to go... Photos of the Earth, rather. I challenge anybody to go to Google and just type in a thing we call the Earth and see what pops up. Click images, and you'll notice that every single image, they even have a flat Earth there. Look at so many people hit on the flat Earth subject. That's like second on the list now. That's so funny. But every one of these photographs is the blue marble or a variation of. And the blue marble, they paid a lot of money for NASA to draw the pictures of the clouds. And you're logically saying, well, why aren't there any pictures of the moon from outside? You know, there's a beautiful heart-shaped Earth there. There's side pictures that look credible, like this one, from a satellite. But that's the blue marble over here. Everything's all the blue marble. You could go through this 3,000 images, and you'll see the blue marble. You'll never see an actual photograph of the Earth, which implies that we've never even been to the moon. There you have it. Okay, we're going to take that into consideration. The Boris Johnson Zionist shill. We got that story. Wow, we got a lot of things flying in at us right now. Here he is at one of his prayer meetings on Shabbat with some of his Orthodox friends. There you go. Oy vey, Boris Johnson looking to be a good Zionist prime minister. It is very good that even Israel has control over Boris and Donald now. How nice. This is very good. You couldn't see a real picture of the earth. It was right in front of you, really? No, you go ahead and look yourself. I have not invested anything in my rhetoric. No, not at all. You look for yourself. Give it a try yourself. Look for a real picture of the earth. Seriously, do your own search on the internet. Don't rely on my statement. My God. Are you that brain dead? I guess you are. Hey, we've got impeachment. It's in the works, just like I said it was going to happen. I've been right all along. It's weird. I've been making prophetic statements for the past 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and I've been right all along. It's amazing. Oh, yeah. I think that's hilarious. China's first plant to the moon withers and dies soon after sprouting. Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. And I believe that they have a plant on the moon. You know, any of this can be faked. Hollywood film studios can fake this all the time. But I can tell you that's not fake. They really are spraying our skies with chemicals that you're breathing right now. Nanoparticles, lithium, barium, strontium, selenium. Yeah, all the bad things. Lithium will make you feel kind of like, oh yeah, I'm kind of out of it, dude. I think I should go get some milk and bread. I don't believe China went to the moon. I don't believe that story. And let's not forget that Boris will be joining Lord Jacob Rothschild. Here he is, sucking up to the Zionist leader out in front of the Buckingham Palace. Hello, Boris. It's so nice to have another puppet in Washington, in the UK. Yes, the city of London is proud of your prime ministership over all of Britain. Ha 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 ha. Oh man, these people are really controlling the picture. The Rothschilds are. Wow. We are analyzing your statement, Dr. Phil. Okay, we've got a request for Larry Sinclair. Let's go there right now.
Where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for your testimony. And believe me, that effort by Larry Sinclair was the best thing we could have done. We've seen all the fraud committed by the Democrats and Barack Obama. Trump never bothered to prosecute Barack Obama on the fake birth certificate that he used to cheat the American people. Hi, TX girl. Good evening. And we know now that Donald Trump never did anything to pursue the birther issue. In fact, dropped it as soon as he became the puppet president that he is. So not to worry, Trump wouldn't be in charge of the GOP. It would be the chairman of the GOP. Nope, the chairman for the GOP won't be running for president necessarily. They'll probably have a round robin. When Trump resigns in about 6 months, we're going to probably see Pence will step up unless they get some dirt on him, and they haven't really been too aggressive. They haven't gone after his emails or anything. But if Pence takes over, then the Republicans will probably, I would say, go to Mitt Romney or John Kasich. Those will be the two best choices. Ted Cruz might want to get in the running again. I would expect Ted Cruz, John Kasich, and Mitt Romney to be the leading contenders in the 2020 election. All right, so how the Pentagon will experiment with 5G. Yeah, let's do it. Are they going to be developing 5G butt plugs? Will they be developing, sex toys with 5G? We don't know. The Pentagon announced that 4 bases in late October where it plans to roll out our initial testing of the 5G high-speed bandwidth. So, it's where I told you they would be, in San Diego, in Albany, in Georgia. Yeah, I don't really want to focus on this, because it's going to take a few months to ramp up the test beds, and by then a number of people will probably be dead, from just the radiation beams alone. I don't think it's safe for anybody to be around this equipment. So, yeah, I think it would be far better if we had a 5G plus network that had limiters and all kinds of safety mechanisms installed. And that's why I'm recommending the 5G plus EMF safe system. It hasn't been developed yet, but I thought I'd just recommend it anyway. Yeah, the idea would be to put Faraday cages over all the junction boxes to prevent field radiation from spreading into the community. And also making so they're not in line of sight of drivers on the highways. You saw my name in the official registration list for 2020 POTUS run? Did you? Thank you. Thanks, TX Girl. Yeah, I applied for the position a few months back. Hot rails, I think they already have. Many women are fully aware of their powerful tool that they have at their disposal to virtually neutralize every man around them. Their sex appeal. Women have used their sex appeal over men for years. You know that. Well, you're a victim, right? You're a MGTOW guy who can't even get up enough strength to ask a woman out to date. We sent hot rails over to a pheromone dating site last week, because women and their pheromones, there are actually pheromone dating sites now across the country where you get a sample of their clothing and you get to smell a bag and say, I like that. I like that, before even meeting anybody. And it's like, oh, I like that. And it's not like underwear or anything. It's just like an outer jacket or something. Pheromone dating. You didn't know that was happening? Oh, yeah. It's beyond speed dating. Speed dating is kind of a downer when you walk up and see someone who's like, hi, you look like hell. Well, you're very rude. Well, screw you. Well, you're obviously not going to be my husband. And it's like back and forth, and then you go on to the next person. You can only get 5 minutes with each other. No one would ever say you look like hell. That's just nobody in their right mind would ever say you look like hell. But there are people that think that, and then you don't get called back. The fact that you're all about what women smell like, hot rails, I think it'd be a perfect match for you. Pheromone dating, do it. Give it a shot. Break out of that mold you're in. That MGTOW mold. Men who've gone their own way. Yeah, I know. Well, you'll actually have what France has had, 4G, real 4G in the past 10 years. 5G in America will be that much faster. It's going to be 20 times faster than 4G. The problem is we don't need faster. And our government hasn't really allocated any of that bandwidth that was originally for analog TV back in 2009. Thanks, Daryl. Back in 2009, all that bandwidth was completely shut down. They haven't allocated that for any use but military. So I'm going to assume the military just wants to use that bandwidth in that spectrum to just zap our brains. It's like, I've got to go to work. I've got to go home. I've got to go to bed. And when you get to bed, you're like, and pretty soon your brain's popping out with tumors. Yeah. Have you ever felt that pain in your ear from where you hold your cell phone? That's a tumor. Ask your doctor. Don't hold your cell phones next to your head, by the way. It's a terrible amount of radiation waste heading into your brain. Use the speakerphone. I'm serious. Don't use the cell phone next to your head. And if your kids are using the cell phone before they go to bed, they will lose their REM sleep. Scientific studies have proven that their REM sleep declines when they use the cell phone prior to bedtime. I'm serious. These cell phones are putting out field radiation that could affect our brains, and our government doesn't give a crap about telling us about this. No public service announcements have been ordered by the FCC at all, which means that everybody at the FCC will lose their job if I had my way. So the House Democrats have impeached Donald Trump, which we predicted would happen. Pretty much the size of it. But he's denying that he had anything to do with it. Fed live, Trump rally, no live access. Oh, there's no live, they don't want to talk about it. There's an open war on democracy. In a harsh letter to Democrats, Trump denounces the impeachment hoax. All roads lead to Putin. Pelosi tells Americans impeachment not really about Ukraine, but all about Russia. So maybe there is something in the impeachment papers that talk about Russian interference. I don't know, but it looks like the articles of impeachment that she's following kind of are a scant resemblance of what they should be. Plus, let's not forget, there's no IRS tax returns yet. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is holding that up in a court. A circuit court of a judge has held back the IRS tax returns. Our federal appellate court judge sent it to the Supreme Court, and now it's being held up by Ruth Bader Ginsburg, of all people. Well, I think the internet itself is great, but the digital frequencies that are affecting our brain, I'm a little bit concerned. And there's no tapes of Putin. Trump has openly said that that called for, everyone would know that there is nothing to worry about. He's already said that, even the Zelensky tape, had we just heard the conversation, it's all there, he said. Where is it, Donald? You made no audio tapes of any of your conversations with Putin or Zelensky. So ironically, Donald Trump could have easily gotten out of these charges if what he says is true, and he had tapes of his conversations, but he doesn't. And he redacted a copy that's a complete twisted word salad. So let's put your money where your mouth is, buddy. Show us some audio of these things to exonerate you. But Mueller can't exonerate Trump.
It is the dark mystery at the heart of Donald Trump's presidency.
Why is he so chummy with Vladimir Putin?
The Russians must have something.
He is creating a hero out of Vladimir Putin. What the hell is going on?
Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, summed it up this way.
All roads lead to Putin.
Questions about the two men started when Trump, as a candidate, began singing Putin's praises.
I respect Putin. He's a strong leader, I can tell you that.
So smart.
Run by a very smart cookie, much smarter, much more cunning than our president.
More importantly, there were Trump's actions. Why would he hire a Ukraine lobbyist as his campaign chairman?
The core question about Paul Manafort is whether he was working for Donald Trump and the American people, or whether he was really working for Vladimir Putin.
Paul Manafort had worked in American politics years ago, but for more than a decade, he had advised a Putin ally, then Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych.
Exactly. So Donald Trump hires the opposition, Zelensky's opposition, and even Poroshenko's opposition. Russian Ukrainians are trying to manipulate Ukraine, and they use Donald Trump to do it. That's what this is really about. But more importantly, they're also using Donald Trump to do anything they can to help him. Okay, we have this story. In the face of climate change, the internet is unsustainable. Oh no, the carbon is affecting the transmission of 5G networks everywhere. Okay. More fear tactics. Yeah. China is building an artificial sun expected to be operational in 2020. Oh, that'll be an energy drain. They're making their own sun in China. Anyway, I don't believe that the internet will be shut down because of carbon pollution. That's just a non-story as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it's hardwired. There's no way you can stop it. A 7-year-old boy in a domestic violence shelter writes heartbreaking letter to Santa. You want me to read this to you? Dear Santa, we have to leave our house Dad was mad. We had to do all the chores. Dad got everything he wanted. Mom said it was time to leave and she would take us to a safer place where we don't have to be scared. I can't read this. I'm getting all broken up. I'm still nervous. I don't want to talk to the other kids. Are you going to come this Christmas? Dear Santa, we don't have any of our stuff here. Can you bring some chapter books, a dictionary, and a compass, and a watch? I also want a very, very good dad. Can you do that too? Love, Blake. Oh, this is so sad. You see why I'm not a teacher? I would get too personally involved thinking, oh gosh, these poor kids, you know. I take this to heart. I was like, gosh, the plight of these children is just so sad. I don't have kids because I would feel that it would be a financial drain to have children right now. Okay, the man who helped ex-KGB officer Vladimir Putin, the officer of the president. Let's take a look. You're looking now at the ex-KGB officer, yes. Here we go. Yeah, that was just very touching. The man who helped make ex-KGB officer Vladimir Putin a president. Oh, yeah. Remember how he was elevated to power when Boris Yeltsin surrendered his power? He appointed Vladimir Putin as the president of Russia? Yes. The brilliant deputy. Huh. Putin from pariah to Middle East power broker. Wow. You know, some people believe that Putin might even be replaced by someone who looks like Putin. There's a theory that he was replaced a few years ago.
Я знаю, что мой муж не виноват. А кто, как не президент, может помочь в этой ситуации? Мы ждем от вас помощи.
Yeah, it looks different. See how he changed his look? I don't know. It looks slightly different. They thought maybe he had plastic surgery in 2007. Hard to say. It is obvious that his plastic surgery may have been done, but there is other things about his face that do not look right. It looks like they replaced him for some reason. There is even evidence of a possible hoax evidence that they had a trial in which they fired and executed the man. But I don't believe in this. I believe that maybe Putin may be in play, but he is a very rich man, worth over $200 billion, making Donald Trump look like pauper, willing to shine his shoes, so to say. Ha 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 ha. Shoe shine boy, Mr. Trump. They see Trump as an agent. We talked about this last night. Lavrov stands over him as the puppet master in a picture that they put in social media recently. I know, isn't that sad? That doesn't make you very, very sad that they're saying those horrible things about our president? I think that all these people are saying bad things about our president. It's so un-American. And if Donald Trump wants to work for Vladimir Putin, he can still do that and be our president, you know? What's wrong with your brain? You retardicans have no idea why you're supporting Trump. What's wrong with your mind? Your brain's just not, it's like misfiring. Oh, it's all a Russian hoax. It's all a scam. No, come on. We have more than enough evidence of his collusion with Russia. Yeah. It is pretty obvious. I don't believe that you can explain anything with your math. There is mathematical energy hidden in the third force. Could you explain this strong force using this mathematical model? And can you apply it to unified field theory as described by Isaac Newton? Excuse me, Albert Einstein. Hold on, please. Yeah, we're not going to get into a conversation about some magical force that you claim exists. We're going to get down and dirty. Where's Hillary? Well, here she is. She hasn't announced her run for the presidency yet. But I can assure you something's wrong with her face. It's morphed into something very strange. I mean, it's like it almost looks weird, the way it's not the same face. So we have to assume that her face is actually one of two faces. She's two-faced. She's a two-faced woman. No, she actually has an imposter or some sort of a I don't know, maybe even a clone. We don't know. The technology's there for cloning. Yes. So if you Republicans can come up with tapes of Putin so I could hear Donald Trump's conversation with Putin, that would help make me put more trust in him. But right now, since there's no tapes of anything, not even with Zelensky, we have to assume Trump is guilty. And the fact that Trump said that he'd gladly show his IRS tax returns is suspicious in and of itself. Why would he say that and not show his tax returns? So that's another indication Donald Trump is guilty. Yeah, we're moving on. Okay. Yes, Russian TV show Mr. Trump is agent. At the same time, Lavrov is puppet master. There was a lawsuit that asked about the only notes that were taken of Mr. Putin and Donald Trump. And the judge has rejected the government's motion to toss the suit over missing Trump-Putin notes. So that's a good thing. They don't know why Trump got rid of all of the notes from their first meeting and told the stenographer to bag it. But the judge now rejected the Trump administration's attempt to toss out the lawsuit. So this should show a lot of information was suppressed by Trump early on with Putin. And again, there's not one bit of audio of 13 plus hours of communication between the two. That's just a fact, Jack. And we have to deal with that simple fact, okay? This just in, very serious, 30,000 pigs dead as pig Ebola spreads in Indonesia's North Sumatra. Now, we're very, very in danger worldwide of Ebola mutating among the pig population, being pigs are very similar to the human body. It's not something to joke about. Pig Ebola is something serious. And here's mass graves of these pigs dying of Ebola or hemorrhagic fever. Very serious. So I just wanted to freak you out there for a second. Thanks for that. And yeah, this news, breaking, Mitch McConnell says the Senate will dismiss the impeachment after opening statements. So they're just going to vote on it because, as you know, Mitch McConnell is working for Russian oligarchs, sanctioned by a Russian oligarch. So Mitch McConnell will basically rig the vote. Yeah. Isn't that nice? There you go. All right. And what else do we have? Oh, this story came in earlier. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, it turns out, was intimately involved with the Swedish woman on the left, so much so that he wanted to marry her daughter. So her daughter, Selena Dubin, was told Epstein wanted to marry her, the teenage daughter who called him Uncle Jeff. Yeah, isn't that sad? Well, now that Jeffrey Epstein's out and alive, he could probably hook up with her. Maybe invite her to Little St. James Island for a nightcap, you know? You still believe he's dead? Really? No, he's alive. He was seen over the... he was seen completely alive. Sure. Well, I mean, clearly that's not him, the guy that allegedly died. I mean, look at him. His nose is different. A completely different nose. Completely different ear, too. The only person who identified him was his brother, who clearly is going to profit one way or another. Yeah. So, I'm sure he's out and about doing something. Yeah, he could easily marry her. Here he was 20 days after the alleged death, out on St. James Island, checking for damage from Hurricane Dorian. He was filmed by Rusty Shackelford's drone that he has on YouTube. This is a real photograph, dated August 30th, timestamped. Yeah, I thought I'd share. Anyway.
David, one witness described your penis as oval-shaped.
Okay, so I don't really want to get into the details of how Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein worked together for all those years. And remember when Justice for Katie, the girl that claimed she was raped by Donald Trump while Jeffrey Epstein was standing over her? She dropped her lawsuit because she said that Donald Trump threatened to kill her. Yeah, that's what she said. She dropped her lawsuit. So, I mean, what are we supposed to believe here? Trump says the Democrats are going to pay at the box office. You got to hand it to Donald Trump, though. He really knows how to handle stress. I have never seen someone handle stress the way that Donald handled stress. He's amazing. That's actually a compliment. I'm not sure what kind of designer drugs they're giving him, if they are at all, but I don't have your big mug, no. But I guarantee he doesn't spray fruit enzyme spray in his face all the time to deal with stress. That's my thing. I just spray myself. I give myself a day spa with my fruit enzyme spray. Which just is very simple. It's fruit enzyme with 10 parts of fountain of youth water. Iran will destroy Israel? I don't think so. No, Israel has many capacities to defend itself, like possibly cobalt bomb would fracture Earth's crust 1,000,000 times over, turning all of us, rendering humanity dead. Yeah, the Samson option is always out there. So Iran were to threaten Israel. Now, they've never admitted it, but the Samson option is the worst possible scenario. Jeff Bridges is here. Hey, Jeff, you're taking your math lately? Wow. Okay, Jeff. News from you. Are you going to do your wine gig where you sit and sing with a guitar up here in Washington? I'd love to get a pass to go to that sometime. If you ever do the Wine Valley thing, you should do that. Yeah, I'd like to go and meet you again. We'd hang out. I don't do meth, though. Poor guy's drifted into meth. Well, I need an all-access pass for both Sarah and I. And, of course, I might have to bring my security team, which entails 7 large, heavy-set football players. Fully armed. Donald Trump has been impeached. My goodness, we've got a news story, everybody. I'm asking these 2 questions because I think it's relevant, being we're closing in on the impeachment. But Mitch McConnell, the Russian Moscow Mitch, already said they're going to just throw the whole impeachment thing out. Okay, Donald Trump has been impeached. Here's what happens. Ad blocker detected. Okay, apparently we can't talk. Basically, it's going to the Senate for a month, but they might just resolve this in about a week or so. There's nothing to worry about, guys. The problem is Nancy Pelosi can put out a second set of impeachment offenses. We can actually go in phases. Yeah, you got a Merlot right now? Really? Joe's drinking Merlot. You know, I know guys that drink Pinots, Petite Syrahs, Merlots. I know a few cab guys that get heavily into cab. You know, once you get past 8 ounces, it's no longer good for you. So, Jeff, you're pickling your brain, but go for it, man. At least you're drinking wine. Free will, man. Whatever you want to do in life. Yeah, Trump will forever have asterisks next to his name. Good point. So now he'll be known as the impeached president. You guys who are Republicans are really proud of the fact that Donald Trump has done such a good job dividing our country. Yeah, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you Republicans who finally realize that Trump is destroying our nation. Oh, but it's not his fault. It's the Democrats and the Russian hoax. It's all a big scam. Pompeo is being sued for records. Here's a guy who openly said he lied as a CIA director.
Just today from a federal court in Washington, D.C., a judge who incidentally was appointed by President Trump allowed a lawsuit to proceed today that is seeking the missing notes that the White House has hidden or locked down or otherwise disappeared concerning President Trump's conversations with Vladimir Putin. That lawsuit by two watchdog groups, by American Oversight and Democracy Forward, that lawsuit will be allowed to proceed. It accuses the administration of violating the Federal Records Act by disappearing those notes of what happened in those calls and meetings by the president. The lawsuit aims to turn up evidence of what the Trump administration did with the records of those calls and meetings. But it's also hopefully going to turn up the records themselves so we all can find out someday what actually he did.
Great.
What's in all of those records that they have tried to lock away and make sure nobody can get access to?
Yeah.
I mean, the unlocking and the unleashing of just one of those call records that they tried to hide has already resulted in the president being impeached. Just the Ukraine call being released has already resulted in his impeachment. What about all the others that are still locked up?
She looks elated. She looks like she's having a great day, doesn't she? Yeah. Rachel Maddow, everybody. She's being sued for making statements about Trump, but whatever. I'm glad that she made that statement. Yeah, it's just the beginning of the tip of the iceberg. So this is an ongoing investigation, and the House can continue, and they can launch a couple more impeachment articles if they want. Yeah, this may be like, we'll be up to 8 impeachment articles by next August as we move toward the election. This will be kind of interesting. The more information comes up, I mean, it's going to be till June that we actually get access to the tax records. Ruth Bader Ginsburg has stopped it till June now. There you have it. All right. Making our way through the news one by one. Okay. Now, there's a reason why Zelensky said there was no quid pro quo. For one, he's not an impartial person. He really does want to get money for his country. He says, I don't trust anyone at all. Ukrainian President Zelensky speaks out on Trump, Putin, and a divided Europe. Wow, this is a good Times news article. He doesn't trust anyone at all, nor should he. He's a smart man. I hope he does well for Ukraine. I mean, let's face it, this guy he just wants to play Switzerland and not say anything. I'll look at that later. So we'll see. Since Donald Trump may be looking at accusations that he suppressed a conversation with a tape he had with Putin, the notes may be coming forward. We may be hearing some of those notes. You never know. Or are the notes gone forever? I don't know. Are the IRS tax returns gone forever? I mean, will Trump continue to fight this? I don't know. He doesn't seem to want to let anyone see his tax returns for some reason. Wonder why. Okay, man-sized kitty litter boxes for the streets of America. Uh-oh, Mr. Bill. No, that's not an appropriate link here, Mr. Bill. You can do better than that. Mr. Biscuit is not going to run against me. Put a cat out there. So not one Republican has defended Trump's actions. The Republicans only complain about the process. I know, Jeff. It's terrible. As you know, Jeff, I was a former Democrat. I've left the Democratic Party because they're not really on the up and up either. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden making $50,000 a month, all that money, without even any knowledge of the Ukrainian oil situation. Come on, that's got nepotism written all over it. But I know you worked hard in the industry and you didn't get your job because you and your brother Bo were working on the set with your dad. Yeah. That was you working as an actor, and you're a hard worker. You're a good actor, a great actor too, Jeff. Yeah. I know. Your dad, believe it or not, yeah, I have a photograph here of your father, Lloyd, and your dad looked a lot like my dad. Yeah. My dad used to have that look. Lloyd Bridges, everybody. The look. like the guy, a trusted father figure, that show you were on. It wasn't Flipper, it was the other one, right? What if our dads were brothers? I don't think so. My dad was a model in Hollywood. No, I actually performed as a model. He was a teacher. My father had a very humble career. Your dad had an extraordinary career. Great actor. But my father was a teacher. He taught 10,000 students in high school. No, Al Corley looked a lot like me, though. I actually was on the set of Dynasty. I'm practically the same age as Al Corley. He's 4 years older than me. But I went on the stage of Dynasty, and they actually thought it was Al Corley. They said, "Are you Al Corley?" I dropped my resume off. They never wanted to bring Al Corley back on the show, but that was Al Corley's now a pretty powerful producer in Hollywood. Does a lot of work. Pretty power guy. He's a big power guy. That's him now. But here he was when he played in Dynasty. And I guess I must admit I did look a lot like him. In fact, I look like him now. It's kind of weird. He was only like 22 here. So there's hope for me yet, yeah. Staying away from booze is the key, Jeff. Yeah, I don't drink. Remember when I picked you up and kept you from falling through that plate glass window in Santa Monica next to Chinois in Maine? I'm glad I saved your life, man. We had that one moment, I know. And you remember, we were like right next to each other. Face to face. It was pretty impressive. Yeah, you kept it together though. But you flipped around and went right into the glass. Like, whoa, wait a second, I grabbed you. It's like you didn't realize the glass was there. It could have been bad. All right. Well, we've had a great time here. We got to visit our guest chatter, Jeff Bridges, everybody. Rachel Maddow had other things to say. There's still a lot of dark secrets in the Trump administration, like Michael Flynn and the fact that this guy worked for Russia, and even William Barr tried to stop the investigation into Michael Flynn, shut it down. But you'll hear from Rachel about how Michael Flynn was, pretty much a security risk, but he was very cooperative when he was hauled in.
Or this Turkish cleric to be sent back to Turkey, where they would definitely tar and feather him. It also, of course, relates to current news because of recent reports that the Trump administration is once again negotiating to maybe try to send that cleric back to Turkey, where they will still tar and feather him. That is something that Mike Flynn was being secretly paid to advocate during the campaign, including on Election Day. The Trump administration has since pursued that same super dodgy aim of its own accord. All right, here's the end of this part of the Flynn filing. History and characteristics of the defendant. The defendant's history and characteristics present both mitigating and aggravating circumstances. As detailed in the pre-sentence investigation report, the defendant's military and public service are exemplary. Flynn served in the military for over 33 years, including 5 years of combat duty. He led the Defense Intelligence Agency. He retired as a 3-star lieutenant general. The defendant's record of military and public service distinguish him from every other person who has been charged as part of the Special Counsel's Office investigation. However, senior government leaders should be held to the highest standards. The defendant's extensive government service should have made him particularly aware of the harm caused by providing false information to the government, as well as the rules governing work performed on behalf of a foreign government. The defendant deserves credit for accepting responsibility in a timely fashion and substantially assisting the government, as described in the addendum. Shortly after the Special Counsel's Office reached out to Flynn to seek his cooperation, he accepted responsibility for his unlawful conduct and began cooperating with the government. In conclusion, for the foregoing reasons, as well as those contained in the government's addendum and motion for downward departure, the government submits that a sentence at the low end of the advisory guideline range is appropriate and warranted. And again, given the guideline range here, what the Special Counsel's Office explicitly is asking for is no jail time for Mike Flynn.
Yeah, so Mike Flynn was very cooperative, and he didn't get any jail time. And to the best of our knowledge, he didn't pass state secrets off to Russia. Although I can't verify that, because I don't think anybody's looked at the books since Donald Trump became president. So who knows? Half of that information might be already sent to Moscow for a secret review. Somebody named Drebin said Trump administration is going to hold a UN Security Council event tomorrow for global decriminalization of homosexuality. Okay. Interesting. Whatever. I didn't know Trump was really getting behind LGBTQ. Well, that'll really help him lose the election in 2020. That's great. It's official today. Thank you, Jeff. The United States House of Representatives has impeached Trump. I don't think you should be embarrassed. This is actually a good time to revel in what we will see as a better America. Yeah, we need to get certain things in place to prevent this type of corruption. And Donald Trump is a classic example of the worst corruption we have. So it's not that bad. It's also a great opportunity for us to, promote the idea of a third party. The two parties have proven to be completely corrupt. Now we find out that Biden really does have some pretty dark roots in Ukraine, who helped finance his re-election or his election in 2016 for the primary run. It's just weird that all of this is now coming to light. So we're getting a lot of information from all of this. I think it's a good step in the right direction. I actually think we're making progress. Right. The president has been impeached, but he's still going to be remaining president until the Senate decides through the trial phase if he really is guilty. And they'll have the final vote. Chief Justice Roberts will oversee the Senate hearings. But the irony is Mitch McConnell says they don't want to take any witnesses. They don't want any discovery. They just want to close the case and put it to rest. But the problem is Mitch McConnell is working for Russia. And nobody in the media wants to talk about it. I'm shocked that the Democrats haven't brought this to light. The fact that Mitch McConnell receives money from Len Blavatnik, a Russian connection to Oleg Deripaska, the guy who allegedly was at the center of Russian control of Donald Trump, the guy who apparently suppressed the information Nastya had and seized it when she went to Moscow. Well, yeah, Len Blavatnik works for Igor Deripaska. Len's standing there with Lindsey Graham, who also he pays about $3 million for re-election. He's there with Dershowitz talking to Lindsey Graham, but that's Len Blavatnik. He works for Oleg Deripaska. So this is the Russian connection and how they control the Senate. You Republicans better wake up fast because our country's in danger right now. You still contend Russia had no effect on the election. You're blowing it, you people. What's wrong with you? Don't cling to power for your sake. Relinquish power so that our country can be better. Republicans will be better for it, and so will Democrats. If you people get your party back, right now it's been hijacked by a collusive man who works with Russia named Donald Trump. Well, yeah, Nastya, Nastya. I should talk about Nastya a little bit. But first, let's take a little reminder as to how honest our Secretary of State is. Here is Mr. Pompeo talking about working at the CIA.
What's the cadet motto at West Point? When I was a cadet, what's the cadet motto at West Point? You will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
Whatever that means. The glory of the American, to lie, cheat, and steal, that's the experiment? You see, we've got a bunch of scumbags running our country, people. No wonder other countries look at us as a bunch of imbeciles unable to make any credible decisions toward world peace. They're looking at us as though we're being run by a complete self-centered lunatic. Yeah, anyway, we're going to try not to talk too much about Greta tonight. I'm almost having to unleash myself from the climate change people who continually press their agenda. So the big conflict between Trump now, the Republicans, and the Democrats and Pelosi is kind of a war of words, not really a fact-based contention from the Republicans. They're not refuting anything. They're just saying it's all a big hoax. An open war on American democracy, Trump said in a harsh letter to Democrats denouncing the impeachment hoax. And then Pelosi says all roads lead to Putin. Pelosi tells Americans the impeachment is not really about Ukraine, but all about Russia. Well, I'm still waiting to see what that's all about, because we're still waiting to see any kind of real charges against Trump related to Russia. We haven't seen those yet. Maybe the couple of impeachment articles will be coming up next week. I don't know. Democrats' push to impeach Trump is just the latest chapter of a U.S. Civil War 2.0. I don't think so. I don't think so. If Pence takes over as president, the Republicans will see that as a win-win, and they'll move on. No, my chair makes noises sometimes. It sounds like flatulence, but you Democrats are too concerned about flatulence. Yeah, you need to relax a little bit and let your flatulence go. I don't know, Hot Rails. Are you hooking up with her for a date? I think she's married. Yeah, Trump has everybody a liar, a cheat, and a thief. Trump's cabinet. The snake pit, we call it. Donald Trump's administration. He has 6 billionaires working for him. I mean, how can that possibly make sense to anybody? 6 billionaires working for the president. Why would a person with $1 billion want to work? I can't figure it out. I don't have $1 billion, and I don't have a mere $1 billion, and I don't work. Gigantic pulsating parasite extracted from an 8-week-old kitten's nostril. Okay. Seriously? Oh my gosh. I can't watch this. Okay, you want to see it? Does anyone want to see the kitten have its nostril pulled out? You would rather watch Ellen DeGeneres and the amazing video that she did with Barack Obama's girlfriend or boyfriend, Michael? Okay, let's take a look. We now go to the Stargate room,
where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
Okay, that was Larry Sinclair on his crack experience with Barack Obama and oral sex with Barack Obama. Now we're looking at what appears to be a flinging body part in Michelle's pants. And this is enough to get, Joan Rivers killed. She said that Michelle was, in fact, a dude, and then a month and a half later, she died on an operating table. Yeah, terrible story. Hey, let's knock this one off too.
Hey, do you ever wonder, like, what is going on? I mean, like, do you ever, like, wake up or do something and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
You know, I never woke up. I'm still asleep. I didn't wake up. This is all a dream. Yeah. And I've never done anything, so I have never woken up or did anything, so I guess I don't really qualify. That's a good one, I know. Yeah, so anyone has any questions about Michelle being a dude, I'd be glad to show you more supportive evidence, including pictures of crotch shots, etc. But we need to move on. We need to talk something. We need to get our head out of our, Okay, we're now drifting into space. Uh-oh. That's fake. That's real. Yeah, that's the real Earth, in case you didn't know. It's not shaped perfectly like they show you pictures of. Many people don't realize the Earth is lopsided. That's why it wobbles. Well, a full sheet of plywood costs $22 in my area. That's half-inch. Now, I do go to price check at Home Depot and Lowe's all the time, but sometimes you can get not cabinet grade, no. That's what, $37 for a 4x8. Marine plywood, yeah. But half-inch will do. There's very rarely, your cabinet grade half-inch that's decent to work with. Are you building something, Hot Rails? Because we're not talking about carpentry tonight. This is $40 a sheet? Well, heck, you're on the East Coast then. You just gave away your location. Okay, let's take a look at this poor cat with a humongous worm up its nose. We're waiting. He's pulling it out. No more sneezing, no more discharge. It's coming out. Look at this. Oh my God. Whoa, look at that thing.
This is the biggest larvae I've ever seen.
That is sad. No wonder veterinarians are killing themselves at 4 times the national average. Suicide rates among vets are skyrocketing. There's so many people, have to put their cats and dogs under after over-vaccinating them. Yeah. Well, if you need plywood that bad, man, you ought to buy a bulk supply. This resumes the story of the cat. Oh, there you go. According to the Republicans, this is all treason by the Democrats. There you go. Treason's greetings from your House Democrats. Yeah, I think treason is a bit harsh of a word when they're trying to protect the country from Russia. What's wrong with you Republicans? Are you just brain dead? I have to assume that you're just brain dead to think that you want to support a guy who's got inside dealings with Vladimir Putin. What's wrong with you? So we need to protect the Earth. This is our one shot to keep this beautiful, not so perfect planet protected, okay? Let's work out a strategy to fix the Earth. What do you say? We found a cheaper way to make hydrogen today. That looks good. Iron and nickel do just as well as other rare earth elements to create hydrolysis. That's fixing the Earth. We talked about giant floating solar farms could make energy, and I've even discussed this in my book, Hybrid Capitalism, making fresh water, desalinating out there in the ocean, and creating energy using solar systems. Floating solar systems I talked about in my book in 2012, now it's coming to reality. Isn't this a great concept? Yeah. So there's all kinds of positive things we can do to fix this planet. We even talked about getting rid of real bad problems in the water. Plastic retrieval out of rivers, we talked about that. And we talked about this guy who's created an amazing invention that turns plastic into oil. And this is something we'll encourage. Merry Impeachmas, yes, Merry Impeachmas. And treason's greetings. This guy has a great way. He's a Japanese inventor, created a way to create plastic into oil, gas, and diesel. And you got to admire that. Yeah. So we've got ways to get this thing clean without carbon point legislation, which Greta keeps pitching and pushing on us. You know, she says, I don't want your scientific solutions. Well, that's how we fix this. You know, we can't be stupid about this. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of something here. We've got a $23 trillion debt right now. The United States does. We have to get real. This is serious. I'm going to go ahead and get a new background for our wonderful Wasteful Wednesday tonight. Merry Impeachmas to you. So it was a historic day today. I mean, we knew the House would pass this. It wasn't a big shocker for us. But so Sarah and I believe in nature. We support bringing our country back to a more natural state. We are still one of the cleanest countries in the world, and we should be proud of that fact. But with Dow Chemical and big companies doing so much to pollute our beautiful country, we have to start figuring out how to get this better. And not just talk about it like the Democrats do. We actually want to invent and innovate and create clean and green technologies. So that kind of is at the root of getting rid of waste. Plastic digesters. Remember you talked about how these composters that take compostable cups like from Keurigs.
Commercial composters.
Commercial composters. They have to be heated up, and they actually are really inefficient. You have to generate energy to heat them up to compost plastic waste from compostable plastic. It's not exactly easy. So, okay, I'm going to go grab a little dinner, and I'll be back shortly. Thank you, Sarah.
Why don't you stay until tomorrow? I'm waiting for the sunrise. Like that song, Johnny? Does whoever shut up? No. Never. Biodiesel and ethanol renewable resources. Do you think this can be costly? The costs will be saved in the benefits to our planet. At Third Eye Phantom. Okay. I know exactly. By the end of the Eocene era, global warming reached 130 degrees Fahrenheit for hundreds of years. They had no cars, no oils, no smoking, no AC. Basically, not much air to breathe. And still, almost everybody survived? Really? Yes, Sarah's Smile by Hall & Oates. All right. That is pretty cool about the guy that turns plastic back into oil on sciencealert.com. I do love science. Oops. Those are my kind of articles. President Volodymyr Zelensky speaks out on Trump, Putin, and a divided Europe. I don't think so, Trump Tardo. I'm definitely very loyal. Oh, that is a Hall & Oates song, though. True. She's a man-eater. Beware. I don't know all of it, though. Tulsi Gabbard voted present on impeachment. The Guardian says impeachment won't force Trump out of office, but it matters for our republic. Federal Appeals Court rules on Affordable Care Act case. It struck down an Obamacare rule, setting up a Supreme Court showdown. Pew Richard. I don't think so. I think I'm looking forward to him being removed from office now. Not just impeached, now removed. Obamacare takes another hit in federal appeals court ruling. Federal Appeals Court panel in New Orleans agreed with a lower court judge that the portion of the health law requiring most people to have coverage is unconstitutional now that Congress has eliminated the tax penalty that was intended to enforce it. But they're sending it back to the lower court to decide how much of the rest of the law can stand in light of that ruling. That likely means the fate of the law will not be settled before the 2020 election. Hello, Hot Rails. Do you say hi to David too? Do you feel increasing number of doctors will lower costs? How will it lower costs, Cool Rack Party? It would lower costs, Third Eye Phantom, from having more competition. Just like when in any business, more competition leads to lower costs, supply and demand. So having more doctors in the field would lower costs because then you could choose who you go to see. Do I feel the cost of U.S. dollar engraving can be a problem with a $1 trillion debt problem, since the quarter is $8.08 to engrave? I do think that with credit cards and debit cards being the primary means of exchange these days, I don't think it's well, the thing about the quarter being $8.08 to engrave is that you have to also realize that once it's engraved, you have to think about how long it lasts in the market, and a quarter can last forever. You say the $100 US dollar is $14.20 to engrave. But again, like I would say, it comes down to durability as well, because a $100 bill may not last as long as a quarter. But we will need less and less quarters in circulation in the future, I would say, just due to more people using digital means of money exchange. I don't necessarily think Bitcoin will be the means of exchange in the future, but who knows, could be. I think more along the lines of Visa and debit and credit payments. There's always going to be some people who want to hold on to cash. But as far as, well, maybe with change, we can just keep the change that we currently have in circulation. I know the new pennies just seem a cheaper material than they used to be. Hot Rails prefers cash. I know certain people do prefer cash. I still get out some cash, but and use some cash quite a few places actually. But I would say, yeah, quarters, and the coinage is more durable. I have a coin here that's in front of me that is over 50 years old. Actually over 60 years old. Pretty cool. Cool. Overall thinks we need a Bitcoin encryption that can only be broken by quantum computers. That way no one will be able to play the market, mine it, or fake it. And that's, I mean, my understanding of Bitcoin, and see, I don't, is that it's all based on this trust system. You say there's only 3 real quantum computers on the planet. Do you think there will be more quantum computers on the planet in the future? Bed for all. Oh, real quantum computers, maybe yes, but not easy because we're running out of the materials to create quantum computers. You think there's only a limited amount of materials on the planet for the building of quantum computers? Rare earths and meteorite fragment tristabeam crystapme crystals can't be manufactured on Earth. Oh, okay, interesting. You did a paper engraving on U.S. dollars and how it hurt the economy since we have $300 million plus in the U.S. to overpopulate the U.S. This was when you took political science. You did a paper on how engraving the quarters can hurt the U.S., engraving dollars in general. Oh. Alright, thanks, Medveral. I did not know that about the quantum computers. So you're saying that So you're saying the 300 million people in the U.S., we need to engrave $20,000 for each person? I don't know if you need that much money in circulation. I mean, yes, I suppose that each person could, I mean, if you average it out, you would have 20,000. But would it mostly be in cash or would it be in digital kind of digital exchange? Well, I mean, people do need money, and I suppose you're right. I suppose maybe 20,000 per person is too. Yeah, it's interesting. But I don't think we need that much coinage. I think we could just go to buy with the coins that are already in circulation. It is interesting how expensive it is to produce coins. You think people only need $1,000 in cash? Any more than that is greedy, or they could be funding terrorists? I don't know necessarily if that's true. Part of it is if they just don't trust their money in banks. I don't think that people that have more are I don't think just because someone has money is that they're a terrorist. I mean, I thought plane travel limits you to something like 10,000 you can take on a trip. I don't think it's just $1,000 you could take on a trip, like if you were going overseas on vacation or something. I'm not sure though. So there's cubic quantum computers, but those are just glorified parallel computers arrayed with a very special tri-state memory. Okay. Interesting research, Third Eye Phantom. What do you propose we do? What do you propose the answer to our economic issues are? Okay, Hot Rails, we can save that for later. Your peyote song. Say It Isn't So. Hall & Oates. I haven't seen that one. Or I don't know if I've heard that one. Maybe a long time ago. Wow, there's a clash ensues. Nadler accused a GOP representative of spouting Russian propaganda on the House floor. Wow. Pelosi is floating, holding up the Senate trial. Why? Oh, Hall & Oates on replay. Good. Okay. I was reading an article about Aerosmith, Steve Tyler. How about it? How are you? How's everything going down in Florida? Things are getting chilly up here in Washington State. That's Hall & Oates, Johnny? Your Kiss is on my list. Interesting. There's a snow squall warning issued for New York City. Wow. That's scary. A groom was beaten to death at his wedding reception by two wedding crashers. It's okay, Bangalitis. I mean, I do shop there a lot. I like their samples. Isn't Costco for big families? Well, people that likes to stock up too. I kind of did it as a... I originally joined Costco because I thought of it kind of as entertainment, I have to say. And that's probably why you see a lot of old folks there. Because old folks, they're like, well, if I went to a movie like 5 times, that would cost me more than $60. But I can get an annual membership to Costco and walk around. I know, because I feel like I live an old person's life. Maybe I am an old person. I don't feel like an old person, but I'm just living an old person's life. Anyway, so that's one of the reasons I got it, because it's like, yeah, it would cost me less than going to a movie theater. I'd just walk around and get samples and look at all the other people shopping at Costco. Get you out of the house. And I don't know. I grew up in a big family and we shopped at Costco, but... And the thing is, we do buy quite a few things. Like, well, we buy snap peas, milk, carrots, Brussels sprouts, cucumber, onions. David's a big onion fan. And then some different kind of snack items. We should watch Daryl's House on Access TV. What's Daryl's House about? But that's why old people do that. There's a 108 megapixel camera that's touted for the Samsung Galaxy S11 Plus coming out. All right. College football's national signing day tracker, live analysis, updates, and more. So not only did we have impeachment and quantitative easing and a stock market rally, but we also had the college football's National Signing Day. Okay.
I turned the music on. I thought it would be kind of nice.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just got my coffee.
An ancient slab preserved tracks of a dinosaur, a sailing stone, and a hopping mammal. I wonder what the sailing stone is. Boeing has a Starliner. I did not know that. And there's a hopping mammal.
So, $23 trillion in debt now. That's nice. We flipped over the side and now we're 23 trillion in debt. I guess this is, just a pattern. America's chosen to just keep going deeper into debt. Where is this going to lead? We won't be able to cover the interest on our debt. We're already at that point. We're borrowing to pay the interest on our debt. We should watch Daryl's House on Axis. Really? Is it fun? Is it a good episodic comedy or a series or what? Campaign's going great. Yeah, we've been traveling across the country at 4K TV to 4K TV across the country. Everyone's watching us. Yeah, so we're penetrating the entire U.S. population through the 4K TV screens. I have no idea what that's about. Daryl's House. Do we get Access TV? I think you have to pay for Access. Oh, I have the Sahara. Ooh, neat. We featured a story last week that was bizarre. There's an area in the Grand Canyon that looks like it has artifacts from Egypt. It's the weirdest thing. I was going to show Sarah that, but I don't really want to, sidetrack things. No, we never did qualify for a donation link on iVlog. You have to go to America's Third Party to donate through PayPal, but we welcome any donations, but we just haven't had a lot, Thank you. It all is recorded. We haven't had one donation this quarter, and we're getting close to filing next month.
Yep.
You'd be the only donation. It'd be amazing. That's pretty cool, all these places. What are these odd rock formations?
Yeah, they're geological
anomalies.
Weirdest geological formations.
Maybe other people might want to see it on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
You just want to watch it yourself while other people are staring at you. Nice.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you could do it. Sarah's looking at weird geological structures. We drove by an area in western or eastern Washington that looked like it was a massive earthquake at some time, cracked open the rocks. Every rock is like this big and ready to tumble onto our car. There's mountains of these rocks.
Limestone terraces.
They're pretty cool. Wow.
In Turkey.
The Pope, yeah, they're trying to actually make it so that all the the activities of the popes are now open to be reviewed by the papal ministry. They're going to make it harder to hide the weirdos and perverts among the pope's people. Yeah, I think he's finally taken a serious tone, and I think Pope Francis is now trying to clean out the church. I think it's the best thing I could ever imagine for him. No, I wasn't. It was rock formations. I should show it to you. Hey, Bob. Bob and his dogs that are trained to kill pit bulls. There he is. He has 2 German shepherds that attack pit bulls in California. Yeah, I'll give you a little quick tour of the area we went to. It's out by Wenatchee, is that? What was that town we went to? Ellensburg.
Oh yeah, Ellensburg.
There are his dogs. They're trained to kill pit bulls. Look at that. And that's...
They're just German shepherds.
Yeah, but they're trained... They've killed over 24 pit bulls. They tag up on one dog and they kill him. Isn't that hair? It's like unbelievable. I mean, he says there's a pit bull problem out there. And we don't know what this is other than 2 dogs that are capable of killing a pit bull.
Can you ask a personal question? What's this all about? David Sponheim. There's no...
What's it all about? Well,
there's no David Sponheim versus Citibank. That doesn't exist. I don't know.
I've never heard of David Sponheim versus Citibank. No, I never filed a lawsuit against Citibank.
Nope.
If it was some sort of a Sponheim like David, there are 2 or 3 David Sponheims. That's why I go by David John Sponheim. It's Jon, like Trump's middle name, short for Jonathan. There was a David John Sponheim who died in 2003. Oh, look at his tree, honey. Hang on. Bob, show us your tree again. You are such an American, man. Give us a quick peek at your tree if you can. Everyone wants to see it. One more peek at the tree, Bob, if that's okay with you. Bob's going to show us beautiful tree. Look at that.
Oh,
whoa.
wow.
That's nice, Bob.
Nice.
You're living the life, buddy. Look at him. He's got his mic on. He can actually talk. That's cool, man. I love it. I like your 50-inch ULED TV, too. There he is. Bob's a professional person who takes himself seriously in life. Merry Christmas to you. I know. You know, when I hear Pete Buttigieg quoting the Bible, that's when I get a little bit concerned about the Democratic Party. That's when I kind of thought, well, I'm hearing this man who's openly gay, running for president, quote from the Bible. I don't understand what part of the concordance he's using to justify his lifestyle. But hey, I accept whatever people want to do. I'm cool with that. I really am. I don't mind if you guys want to be gay or you ladies want to be lesbian. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. But I don't want to be there when at the pearly gates when you see St. Peter and ask him if it's okay to be who you are. I don't want to be there witnessing it. What? So the donations helping the court cost? No, we don't need, like I said, we don't have anything to do with that guy, David Sponheim versus Citibank. I've never heard of that case. I have no knowledge of it. There's like I said, 2 or 3 other people out there named David Sponheim in the U.S. You got the wrong guy. Our donations go right into a bank account set up for the campaign and for the campaign to elect David Sponheim for president.
Okay,
Thank
stay
you, Sarah.
blessed as well. These are sailing stones. Oh, that's not.
Oh, those are pretty cool.
See these tracks in the sand?
Yeah.
Behind the stone.
That's
it's
weird.
like, isn't that weird? So, but it was solved.
What
the
was
mystery of them were solved. They in the cold they would accumulate ice underneath them, a little bit of water like dew. And then ice that would freeze, and then the wind would just be able to push them across the sand and erode the sand.
I almost believe that. I do. Except why in a linear fashion? Why in one? Because it's like a certain area is
Because
just a
the
certain...
wind is pushing in that linear.
Or maybe it's just a certain angle. The
direction.
whole area is like a flat plane. The possibility of alien possible activity here, not likely. Okay, you better get. I got the warm room in there. It's almost
Okay.
7 degrees. So we're getting up to 70 degrees, maybe even 72 tonight. Okay, poor Joe won't get his boss back for him the 2020 bid. So Barack Obama is strangely backing Elizabeth Warren. Isn't that weird? Well, that's pushing his agenda. Obama's agenda is extreme liberalism, whereas Biden's more of a moderate. There he is endorsing Warren. And she lied about her Cherokee ancestry. And I don't know how well, of course, Barack Obama lied about everything. In my opinion, he was born in Mombasa, Kenya, so I guess he would embrace Warren. One liar embracing another liar. Look at that. Unbelievable. Drop frames. Warning, warning. Stream has been affected. Twitch is being censored. Thank you, Sarah, for giving me a backup. You got it. I don't want you to... We should have a massage chair for you.
I do have one, I just don't use it.
Yeah, it would make noise on the show anyways, like zzzz, and people would think you're getting radiation or something, you know. If they could just have like nice fingers that could move around like shiatsu, that might be good. The vibrating massage backbacks are really not that great in my opinion. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I think Biden is maybe too honest for Joe, or for too honest for Barack. Yeah, I think Warren is probably just like Barack, very dishonest, very willing to lie to the American people. Yeah, she lied about her job as a teacher and why she left, or why she was fired. You're right, Bob. Yeah, I followed that news story too. I heard she said she was there for all those 15 years and nobody has a record of her being there, or being pregnant and asking to leave and then being fired. She lied about that. Yeah. Elizabeth Warren has a couple kids, I think. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, there she is with her family. She has an adopted child. Oh, they're adopted children. Wait a second. Yeah, I'm having a hard time. 2 adopted children? How could she be pregnant? Huh, this is weird. Yeah, does she have any real children of her own? I mean, that's strange. Oh, no, they've leased Malia and Sasha. Sasha and Malia. They're leased out like they were leased to the Obamas. Now they're going to be leased to the Warrens. Wow, look at that. So these are her adopted children. So she never was pregnant. I'll be darned. Anyway, maybe that's her older child. She probably had one child. Ooh, that sounds so right. Sorry for the question. Thank you for keeping it real. You will be a great president. Yeah, I know. I was a little bit weirded out when I ran for office, thinking, well, other David Sponheims are going to be, bothered, but no one's contacted me yet and said, "Hey, you're using my name." Well, it's my name too. Hey, Scissor Fight, welcome. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for using our utility, Bob, for coming into the show and showing us your dogs, your brave dogs that eat, or they attack the pit bull. You don't have them eating the pit bulls, do you? Hey, there's a Laminar microjet atomizer and method of aerial spraying of liquids. The U.S. Patent Office filed this in 1983. How about that? So they've been spraying our heads for a long time. No more attacks on Twitch. Here's a patent for a device that will send aerial sprays across large areas. Isn't it amazing? It dumps chemicals on your head. Isn't it amazing? The technology is super amazing. Oh, they do not eat the dogs do not eat the pit bulls. So you have a respectful burial for the pit bulls. You stick it in a green hefty bag and throw it in a dumpster. Do you say like a green hefty bag prayer for the eternal soul of those poor pit bulls that are being killed by your 2 dogs? With over 24 kills to their name, maybe even more now. Those dogs are pretty powerful. Yeah. Boy, your dogs would be pretty... You ought to consider going in the Iditarod, you know? Your dogs could eat all the other dogs, or at least attack them all. You'd have a 2-tang team that would just attack the other dogs in the Iditarod. You'd be a shoo-in to win. Of course, you'd have to lose about 100 pounds just to get on the thing lightly. You bury the pit bulls or dump them in the Sacramento River for fish food. That's so kind of you, Bob, to give the poor river fish who are living on wastewater that Nancy Pelosi sent down when she redirected the Delta smelt. You're giving them a real solid nutrition like pit bull meat. Aren't you special? Bob, a true American, providing pit bull abatement in his area like any proud American would. Dave, Bob makes up stories, really? So you think he's just lying about the pit bulls eating his dogs eating the pit bulls? Hey, here's what we really have to worry about. Yeah, this is fresh water. And I have it here, all locked up into this little GIF. And, oops. And if we don't get more fresh water, we'll be starving to death someday. Just word of warning. On a Wasteful Wednesday, tip of the day, we need fresh water. And we need it pronto. Yeah, I don't think any of you have the testicle fortitude to maintain this conversation much longer. No, seriously. Our country doesn't really dedicate a lot of its efforts to creating fresh water. That's one of the things that's going to change if I had the reins of this nation. We'd be immediately building an ocean pipeline that would provide immediate fresh water to the Los Angeles area. I grew up in LA, Los Angeles, California, the city. My name's David. I'm not a cop. We created the Ocean Pipeline Project and still own oceanpipeline.org or .com. When you go to oceanpipeline.com, you encounter my website. It goes right to America's Third Party, which is pretty much where everything's going right now. You can also print out our page at America's Third Party. This is a perfectly printable sign-in to go into your car door, your car window. You can print it up on cardstock, 11 by 16. At Office Max, they would cost about $2 to do it in color on cardstock and then have it laminated. Yeah, that's a really cheap sign. It's about $7 laminated. You can put it out there in your window. Anyway, you can check out America's Third Party by going to americasthirdparty.com or oceanpipeline.com. This is the Ocean Pipeline Project concept where desalination occurs in modules across large areas where the modules are all connected together. And what happens is seawater comes through the middle here and evaporates on the inside of the dome, and little dewdrops, little special dewdrops of water land on the inside of the dome. Right in here. And they drop all the way down to the reservoir right here. And this forms a freshwater reservoir all the way back somewhere. Really, you asked Alexa, why do people die? And Alexa was overwhelmed and went bonkers? Wow, that's crazy, man. How young were you when that picture was taken? Oh, that was just about last year. No, maybe 2 years ago. You have to be within 5 years of your campaign period. I think we took that picture in 2014, actually. 2015. Yeah. About 4 years ago. Well, it was right after the 2016 election, so it had to be 20. Well, we used the same picture for 2016 too, so I'm going to have to say 2015, 4 years ago. Yeah, and this can be printed up in black and white in 8.5 by 11. You can put them on bulletin boards at universities near your house. We did this in 2012. We did it all across the California, Oregon, Washington area. We did all of the universities. We put up our signage on all their bulletin boards. Sometimes they'll just take it right off, but it's still worth putting it out there. Gets a lot of exposure on those bulletin boards. Young students walk into school going, I don't know what to do. Kind of moping. You never know. Global warming is great. Spread the word. That's a very nice picture. Thank you.
What gets me with this global warming hysteria is why people aren't coming out and saying, well, fucking hell, global warming is good for us.
It is. Yeah, this is PK.
It's good for us, and I'll prove in a second why. But they're trying to tell us that, extra 2 degrees by the end of the century, the world's going to end. No, I'm sorry. Heat is good for us. Global warming is good for us.
I bet he's going with the theory that we're entering an ice age, and the inversion layer they're creating with global warming is actually warming the planet, preventing us from having an ice age. I'm going to go with that theory, but we will play this tonight, PK's video on global warming. Yes. Okay. Oh, the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs were gifts that inspire you? Okay. Frank Borman said we weren't politically correct. We weren't candy asses back then. Oh, okay. Yeah, my mother worked on those programs. In fact, I was a participant. During my uteral stage of development, I was at the helm of that project. The Mercury, Gemini, Saturn, and Apollo programs were being developed. My mother was one of the key typists that did all the work for the nuclear engineers. So most of the data has passed next to my body when I was in utero as a child. Yeah, it's just one of those little history facts about me. My mother carried me nine months into her final days while she worked for those projects, the Mercury, Gemini, Saturn, and Apollo programs. Now, I wasn't there to watch the flight take off. I wasn't there to actually see the landing, but neither were you. And the photographs show that it looks like we landed, but did we really? That's a big question. A lot of people are still wondering, did we really go to the moon? We haven't been back in 50 years. We know about as much about the moon as we know about the 448-page report, Mueller report. 7.25% was redacted. The marked areas that are redacted are, in fact, the areas that are most important. She went full red, really? Wow, Alexa could not handle that question. Yeah. Okay, I think I've got it. Yeah, I'm going to remove the area where our debt is 23 trillion, and I'm going to instead talk about Russian hacking and election interference. It turns out most of those items that are on that list in front of you, of the areas that are blacked out, most of those items are related to Russian hacking and election interference. So you're seeing this area of the blacked out. Yeah. So I think if you draw a picture, you'll form a hammer and a sickle, and you'll have the logo of the Russian Federation. Let's see if that matches up. Yes, we see the redaction is the sickle right there with the hammer going in there. And if we overlay the map of Russia over this, we will definitely see the hammer and sickle in the image. I'm kidding, of course, but kind of a thought, an interesting, clever thought, nevertheless. No, that doesn't form a hammer. But no, Russian interference, Russian hacking and election interference would definitely be a problem. And I think that Nancy Pelosi, now that she has an unlimited amount of time ahead of her, really should start drafting new impeachment articles of impeachment, because they can vote on numerous ones again and again. It's not impossible to keep this thing rolling. It's not impossible. Moving that. Okay, I think we covered the territory. We need more fresh water. We could desalinate. We need to have political backing to do it. That covers the territory. Okay. But Russian hacking and election interference are the key issues that were not addressed in this current impeachment process. So maybe they'll go for another one. We'll see. China flouts federal. "30 people have been sickened by infection illness." Oh my goodness. That puppy's in, avoid that puppy. And we got another one from Scissor Fight, a 1942 B-17 airplane air compressor. Going to take a look at that, rebuilding that. That's got to be a tough job. 1,500 PSI. Whoa.
Hey guys, and how's it going? Got something a little different to work on today. I am working on another project, and this, I thought I might use it for it.
So he's going to rebuild that compressor. That'll be interesting. Wakan Tanka Peyote song. Oh, what am I going to do with that? I'll have to do that later. Uh-oh. Yeah, Warren and Obama are working up a tryst among liars to come up with a new plan to lie and promise people things they can't deliver on. All right. There's no way Warren could possibly get the funding for her alleged buy-off of all the student loans. It would bankrupt the nation 10 times over. I even think Biden said that. We don't have the money for that. All right. Confirmed by the Free Beacon National China Floats. Got it. Here we go. Thanks for keeping me on track with our Lake Library. This is good. China violates disclosure law to publish propaganda in New York Times. Wow. China is publishing propaganda in our own New York Times. Unbelievable. They routinely broke federal law by not disclosing how much it spent to publish regime propaganda in the New York Times and Washington Post and other newspapers. China Daily, an official mouthpiece of the Chinese Communist Party, has published hundreds of propaganda articles designed to look like ordinary news stories in some of America's most influential newspapers. Whoa. That's like the Russians with their 184 million impressions on Facebook. Amazing. Okay. Time for fruit enzyme spray. Fantastic. That was exciting. And we have a full hour to talk about all this crap. Let's just talk to you about what's happening in your life. I want to kind of focus on your personal life, whoever you are. Yeah. If you don't have a personal life, you can call this show Your Personal Life. One guy came in last night and said, Dave, you're like I Love Lucy and Johnny Carson and every TV show all wrapped up into one. Yeah, and I really am. And I sound like Johnny Carson. Ladies and gentlemen, Ed McMahon. The mighty Johnny Carson was perhaps one of the most important people in television during my era. Qatar Emiri flight owned and operated by the government of Qatar, spraying Americans. Whoa, Mike Decker's got a view out of his Wyoming house of these planes that fly over the Great Plains and spray on us. A Qatar Emiri flight run by the Qatar government spraying Americans. Wow.
December 18th, we got an unknown. Focus camera. Emirates or where's it coming out of? They're douching. Oh, you don't want to show me, you son of a bitch?
Okay, so he's going to see this flight, and he's going to take a picture of it with his Nikon camera. Merry impeachment, everyone. You're wondering if our president will remain. We're coming into a really fun and Christmas season with Mitch McConnell working for Putin directly. Moscow Mitch making the final decision to not impeach our president. This will be really up to Moscow Mitch to decide if our president is working for Russia. If you find this ironic, because our government, and oddly enough, the Democrats don't want to talk about all the big money donors that pay for Mitch and Lindsey Graham that are Russian oligarchs. Yeah, not even Adam Schiff talks about this, which is, I tried to figure this out and I found out what's happening. There's a law that our government allows people who are getting reelected to get money from foreign governments through super PACs. I know that's kind of bizarre, but yeah. They have a law that allows this, which makes you wonder, how did that happen? How did that law pass? Well, there is a case of one particular person named Brett Kavanaugh, who has made it very easy for people to get that money. Yeah, that's right. The same Brett Kavanaugh is now Supreme Court Justice. In 2011, he passed a law that said that super PACs from foreign governments could fund American elections, which really makes you wonder, you know, how did they possibly pass that law? Let me see if I can find that. Brett. Every time I see this picture, I think of what I'll be like when I'm 200 years old. You know? I'm kind of getting the mind frame to, you know, understand what it's like to be 200 years old and to have a face like that. You know, do you mind if I just experiment for a bit? As you know, I've been doing the show for over 150 years, hoping to create a third party. I'm doing a pretty good job, I must say. I'm ready for my blood transfusion, nurse. Too bad my Social Security benefits ran out. Sorry. Yeah, I love that picture. According to the Pew report, Pew, P-U, that smells. That smells to high heaven. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm going to make a little adjustment. Hold on, please. Working with my files. I'm trying to, you know, limit the amount of time I spend talking about how they cheat during the elections on Wasteful Wednesday. I know. Sometimes you just want to get one particular poster. Wouldn't it be great if Greta could go and end weather modification programs? Yeah, if only she'd said what she needed to say. Yeah, but she didn't. No, she wasn't very nice. Yeah, it's not turning up. You know, one of our big expenses is the war in Afghanistan. We could cut back on that, you know, but I don't know where the money, how would the CIA fund their operations if we didn't get money from the opium that's sold there? Look at how our profit margin, or the profit margin of the opium increased over the years that we were in Afghanistan. Isn't that amazing? LGBTQP? Oh, yeah, Mad Dog, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. The pedophiles haven't joined LGBTQ yet. Let's not falsely characterize those people yet as pedophiles. Thank you. Yeah, you're kind of jumping the gun there, buddy. Oh, Brent Kavanaugh. Here he is. Da, 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 da. That's what I was looking for. All right, thank you. So, what if I told you that the reason why Mitch McConnell is getting money from Russia, Mitch McConnell get money from Russia, so is Lindsey Graham. The reason why they're getting money from Russia, from this guy, Len Blavatnik, who works for Oleg Deripaska, the reason why they're getting money is because Brett Kavanaugh made that all happen. Now you know why they fought so hard to get Brett Kavanaugh in power. Over the access, over the allegations of rape and everything during that time when he was in college, he still passed the mustard, and you got to wonder why. Well, apparently somebody paid off his debt. He had a $200,000 credit card debt in 2015, magically got paid off by 2017. No one ever asked that question as to why they let him in, even though he had a massive debt paid off, and they don't know where he got the money for that. Well, the real reason why Brett Kavanaugh is our Supreme Court justice now is because he did whatever they told him to do to get the Russian money in. And really, the bottom line is he really likes beer. You know, he's a big beer guy, and everybody likes Brett because he likes beer. That's the mindset.
He had one beer at the party and had beers with, and having some beers with friends, or just to meet up and have some beers, drinking beer, which I gladly do. I like beer.
For that.
I like beer. I don't know if you,
Okay.
do you like beer, Senator, or not? What do you like to drink?
Next one is
Senator, what do you like to
Judge,
drink?
have you?
In any event, we drank beer and still do. So whatever. I think you've probably had beers, Senator, and so.
So you're saying there's never been a case where you drank so much that you didn't remember what happened the night before or part of what happened?
You're asking about, blackout. I don't know. Have you?
You're asking about, blackout. I don't know. Have you? So he doesn't even know what a blackout, if he had a blackout, he doesn't even know if he had one. So he must have had a blackout because he doesn't know if he had one. Okay. Thanks, Brett. So the real reason why Brett is in office is so that people like Deripaska can funnel money into the hands of Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell. Let's just stay on point for a bit. Now, as it moves toward the Senate, and Mitch McConnell's already said they're going to, pretty much dispatch this with not. In no way did Trump do anything bad. They're going to put this away. All the while, they're getting money from Russia. Can we verify that the Senate is really an independent branch of American government yet? Can we really verify that? I don't think we can. Thank you. We got Mike Decker coming up. Thanks for that, Sister Fight. Thanks for the links for tonight's show. It's always good to have that kind of stuff. Now, let's not forget that Trump, according to Rudy Giuliani, asked Giuliani when he got back from the Ukraine trip, which he went on as an emissary for Trump, although Trump said he has other clients, which Giuliani doesn't say he has other clients. Giuliani actually said outright a couple days ago, or 5 days ago, that Trump reportedly called him and said, "What did you get?" This is after that infamous phone call where Trump said, "Oh, no, nothing, no quid pro quo, but I need a favor to ask." Well, that's a quid pro quo. Anyway, there it is. And really, Rudy Giuliani was barely back stateside when he says he got a call from Donald Trump. What did you get? So he really was trying to get quid pro quo. We have requests for broken St. Obamas. Well, let's be clear. Would you like me to talk in the original dialogue of broken St. Obamas? I hear Comet Pizza was burned down. Children were... What? Are you serious? Children were inside? Wait a second. Is Comet Pizza in the news? Man pled guilty to setting fire at the Pizzagate restaurant. Whoa. This is 16 hours ago. I didn't hear. Thank you for telling me. I love fries. Yeah. Were they trying to get rid of evidence? You know, we've got enough photographic evidence that James Alefantis has some cages inside of there. Absolutely. We know that for sure. Luckily, we've got photographs of the fantasy room, the bathrooms that he had hidden behind the walls. Yeah, we still have photographs of those too. And children were inside. Man pleads guilty to setting fire at Pizzagate restaurant in D.C. Whoa. Arson and assault. A California man has pled guilty to setting fire, targeted by a man investigating a conspiracy theory that falsely connected 2016. Oh, that was the story. They claim it was a falsely connected conspiracy theory about the allegations that went on at the Comet Pizza. Where they came up with this idea it was a falsely connected 2016 presidential conspiracy is just ridiculous. Now, this guy apparently torched the place. He reached a deal with prosecutors to agree to serve 4 years in prison, but the judge isn't bound by the agreement. Sentencing is set for March. He admitted to setting a January fire at Comet Pizza, which was occupied by children and adults at the time. No injuries were reported. Okay. Weeks later, he wrestled with U.S. Parks officers while being arrested after jumping a construction fence. Huh. Well, thanks for telling me. I didn't realize that. Yeah, they probably got rid of evidence that day.
Could you answer the question, Judge? That's not happened. Is that your answer?
Yeah, and I'm curious if you have.
I have no drinking problem, Judge.
Yeah, nor do I.
Well, yeah. Jeez. Unbelievable. How can anyone even talk about that? How can anyone be an alcoholic and be our Supreme Court justice? We have a really corrupt country, you know? And this story out of YouTube, Trump has been impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And who still, despite the fact that Trump won't say anything against 5G networks, he won't say anything against chemtrails, he won't talk about the dangers of vaccines, Trump still, at this point, is getting support from people like Ron Johnson. So we'll give you guys some time to listen to Ron Johnson. He's a pro-Trump guy. Got to wonder what's going on in his head. All right, we'll play that tonight. Thank you. Can't believe people are still clinging to the belief that Trump is in any way helping the country. You got to be out to lunch if you think that. Wow. Well, let's see what the Dow Jones did today. We'll see. Definitively, the Dow is the indicator to a lot of people as to how great the economy is going. Down 27 points. But tomorrow should be interesting after the impeachment. The Dow will drop. Whether it'll drop, well, maybe it won't drop. Maybe it'll just be hip, hip, hooray. We're so happy that Trump has been impeached. It might go up. You never know. But it's been rebounding ever since the impeachment trial has been going forward. So at least the Democrats are doing something right, helping trigger the economy to go up. Yeah, impeachment means possibly opening up of interest rates in the future, less trade wars with China. It could really help the Dow, actually. Ron hates Trump, really? Okay, well, we'll take his perspective then if he really hates Trump. I hear him talking about Trump all the time like he's getting the raw end of the deal here. Maybe I'm just mishearing him. Okay, well, we'll see if Ron Johnson is going to take a stand against Trump on this one. I didn't realize that Donald Trump used the C word against Nancy. He actually called her a fluffy C word at a rally tonight. Wow. Boy, he's really feeling his oats, isn't he? Ugh. I can't even say that word on here. It's so outlawed and taboo. I've always wanted to start this impeachment process, Final Dream. You know that. I'm the one who's been promoting this from the very beginning. I even said 5 months or 6 months before the election that Trump would be impeached. I even said that. I've warned you people this. What gets me is you don't understand that Trump took 15 of my ideas without saying, hey, I got this idea from David Sponheim. That's an effrontery to me as a person. So if you think that I'm going to in any way support Trump because you guys think he's great, you haven't read the detailed information that I have about Trump's connection to Russia. You haven't tracked this all the way through the Michael Cohen hearings. A lot of you just disassociated from reality during those years or those months when Cohen talked about it. You just called him a liar. But Cohen really did do the dirty work for Trump as his fixer. And he knew all the different angles. And Trump tried to hide everything about his past, his multiple affairs. If Trump is losing it, he'll probably resign before the Senate even gets a vote. So I'm going to go ahead and predict that Trump will resign within a few days. Okay? I've been saying this for some time. I do believe that Pence will be our president very shortly. Unless Trump decides to, make a new person a VP. I am available. Anyway, it's kind of like two cronies and their henchmen, Rudy and Donald, and William Barr. It's like they've got a little pact going. What did you get, Rudy? And I understand Rudy went over there for cash, too. He wanted to get in on some of that money that Hunter Biden got. Rudy was over there for financial reasons, many people say. Well, William Barr, as you know, has been backing Russia all along and even wrote a letter to Rod Rosenstein, 19-page letter saying not to investigate Michael Flynn, who was, in fact, a Russian agent. And we found that out later. So William Barr is on record obstructing justice, and he's our attorney general. And now, get this, he's trying to rewrite history, claiming that Trump has never done anything wrong, that the Russians didn't have anything to do with the elections. This guy ought to be immediately impeached as well. William Barr is clearly on the take. There's no doubt about it. His father, Donald Barr, got Jeffrey Epstein all that money when he worked as a math teacher without a degree from college. Jeffrey Epstein worked as a math teacher at the Dalton Prep School and taught 15-year-old children, little girls. That's probably when he started molesting the little girls. So Donald Barr was the father of William Barr, got Jeffrey Epstein those jobs. Isn't that crazy? And let's not forget another little side episode going on here. As you know, Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein has been going on well into the 90s. And their famous image now of them being seen at a party is well documented. This party where they talked about women then laughed, and I think they're going to get a lip reader in here and find out what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey at this time. It's like, hey, you ought to see them when they crouch. You can grab them by the beep, 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 and then you can hold them in the beep, beep, beep. But they were loving it. They were talking about how horny they were and everything. Anyway, this is 1992, 2 years before Justice for Katie claimed that she was raped by Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein standing next to him. And then she dropped her rape charges. She claimed she was 13 years old, was raped by Trump with Jeffrey Epstein in attendance. She dropped those rape charges because she felt her life was threatened. She got death threats from the Trumps, she said. It's like, what? And how come the FBI isn't investigating that? So this relationship with Jeffrey Epstein has been really, really long and deep. Well, guess what? Jeffrey Epstein's been using an alias. And his whole family line has been running a different name. This man, Boris Epstein, is a relative of Jeffrey Epstein's. I'm not kidding. And he's also Donald Trump's senior campaign official, senior campaign advisor for the 2020 election. Boris Epstein. Yeah. I wish I was making this up, people. I'm not kidding. Boris Epstein. He's the former Trump's press agency, but he's also the campaign advisor for 2020. One of Jeffrey Epstein's relatives. Yeah, so this is not over yet. This runs deep. And because Epstein was given a pass by the FBI, they said it was basically he was an intelligence officer, Epstein. So they can't prosecute any of them. Hey, welcome, VP Joe Biden is in, and he's horny. Hey, horny guy, how are you? Final Dream says one of Trump's rape accusers said on CNN recently that rape is sexy and continued to accuse Trump. Really? So claimed she was raped, and then she said it was sexy? Really? And her eyes were rolling around? Are you sure you weren't talking to Bernie Sanders? Because Bernie Sanders said something about how women wanted to be raped by three men. I don't think he used the rape word, though. Hey, Joe, back to you. Dave, back when I was VP, me and Mr. Obama used to make love to each other weekly. Until this every day, we're still lovers. You're not VP Joe Biden. You would never come in here and claim you were gay having sex with Barack Obama. That's just insane, man. How dare you? How dare you say that about VP Joe Biden? Yeah, I don't know. Sounds to me like you're making that up, man. You're not really the vice president. I'm looking for a How Dare You compilation. How dare you?
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
Now watch this. This is amazing. She had to look down to see what she had to read next.
How dare you? Oh. How dare you?
I stand corrected. I must have seen her say this twice because I think she did 2 how dare yous. Sorry, folks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Greta. Ooh, that sounds so right. Sorry for the question. No problem. Hey, Dave. It's a conspiracy. Busy Bond said 2 hours ago. Yeah. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Really? What does that mean, really? Mr. Sponheim, stop talking about that, Joe. You've just been banned from the room. You're not the real Joe Biden. He would never say such perverted things in this chat room. He's known for his mild perversions. I mean, at best, Joe Biden has been seen publicly, doing some weird things with his hands on shoulders, but that's a safe zone. That's a safe zone. Yeah. You know it. Let me take a look. Pulling up Joe Biden fondling pictures. Hold, please. We have a meeting here, an official meeting with the White House. They're working on a new movie where Putin is the star. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. All our chatters are being kept out. Yeah, Mark's been keeping them out. That's okay. We still do a show. It is a song. Phil Collins did that. I know. We're pretty sure that Donald Trump is in the pocket of Putin. We just don't know what he has up his butt. Yeah, to make him look like that. That's got to be some sort of a butt plug or something. Woo! So we're getting closer to the reality that you Republicans are going to have to face up to. That Donald Trump could be charged with treason as well. More impeachment articles may be coming. We don't know. They can come up with as many impeachment articles as they want and keep firing them away like a semi-automatic weapon. God forbid. It's like one impeachment hearing, another impeachment hearing, boom, 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 boom. So we'll see if the Democrats have any more up their sleeve. Nancy Pelosi let on that she said that the real issue here is the Russian collusion. So I'm wondering if she's going to come up with an impeachment hearing on that. Yeah, that'd be great. Be special. Yeah, I'm still looking for that Biden picture. Hold on. Got to wade through all this other stuff. Oh, Biden, oh, Biden. They say Biden could beat Trump in a head-to-head competition. I don't know if Pete Buttigieg has it in him to. When you support LGBT supporter like Biden, it does a lot to destroy it. Yeah, well, Biden is an LGBT supporter, yeah. He is. Bernie supports LGBTQ as well. Bernie's, he says, when a man goes home and masturbates, his typical fantasy, a woman on her knees, a woman tied up, a woman abused, a woman enjoys intercourse with her man as she fantasizes being raped by 3 men simultaneously. Bernie Sanders. Now there's a guy who could be a pervert. I don't think he's got a shot to even make it to the finals with that heart attack. But then again, does Pete Buttigieg, is he going to be able to pull it off? Well, we know he can pull it off with his boyfriend, but but no, seriously, you think he'll be bringing up the rear, or will he be leading the pack? Biden. They have retrofitted a very nice device for Biden, so if he does go into the public areas, he will be retrofitted with the doggy don't bite harness, where no kissing allowed, and it will prevent anyone from getting near him where he would reach over and smell them and kiss them. He won't be nibbling his wife's fingers either with that on. She won't be able to get her fingers close to his mouth. Here's one of his special moments when he's reaching down and kissing a child. People have often wondered about this about Joe, but, you know, he likes to be in children's laps. He says that. He likes to have his hair running up and down. We played that last week. That was hilarious. Hey, I got to give you guys something to think about besides this impeachment. I know a lot of you Republicans are kind of depressed right now. We told you this was going to happen. Heck, you know, Biden likes kids so much. Here he is looking at his daughter, Ashley. Staring at her. Yeah. Candid picture of Biden. And we still want to see that film of him with his daughter Ashley. I'm anxious to see that, as long as it's not, you know, illegal or something. So you're right. His support for LGBTQ and Biden's reckless desire to not actually support legalization of marijuana puts him on the who cares list. He's a slow boat going down in the race. But the question is Pete Buttigieg going up? You know, that's the question. Up, down, in and out, up and down, over. Which way is Pete going? Which way is Joe Biden going? Pete? Biden? I think Biden could be going up, whereas Pete could be going down. Well, he'll be getting down, I guess, eventually, if he's going up. When you support that, you really fall into that category of being a Democrat. Either Pete Buttigieg or Biden really couldn't even compete against Donald Trump. I agree with you. Unless, of course, you bring up Donald Trump's infidelity with all those women and how he paid off the press to try to hide it. Yeah, then you start to get into the, gee, eeny, meeny, miny pervert. Which pervert do you want? I don't know. The American people don't seem like they want perverts. They've had Barack Obama and Michael Obama as their president and first transgender. Do we really need perverts at this point? We've already consulted Larry Sinclair. I don't think we need to talk about him anymore. But anyway, Trump's got a lot of people who clearly make him look like a real solid guy. Like the people he said he never actually met. The people he posed 10 times with. These mob-linked figures tied to the Ukrainian shakedown. Yeah, these people are the ones that are going to be holding him down. Giuliani, Lev Parnas, Igor Fruman. Yeah. Oh, I don't know those people, but I posed 10 times with them in pictures. Uh-huh. Sure. Trump personally directed mob-linked figure tied to Ukrainian shakedown. Okay, I think we're good. And for all of you Republicans who still support Russian takeover of America, I want you to know that Russia did fly over Area 51 and took secret pictures. That's right. Trump approved this. Russians did fly over Area 51 and took photographs. So Trump has these people flying over our country's top secret facilities now. And you Republicans still support Trump. Boy, you really are out to lunch, I'm telling you. What the hell's wrong with you people? Do you really want a police state to take over our country? Russia's not going to be kind when they zip tie you people outside your door and send you to the gulag. You don't realize what being a Trump supporter means. It means you will be sent to the Russian front. That's right. Anybody who is dissident will be sent to Russian front, including homosexuals. Do you have any idea how screwed up things are? Why don't you take a ride on this boat and go take a dip? What do you say? Would it be okay if I sent a merchant marine vessel to the west and east coast someday and offer you folks, you Republicans, a trip to Russia so you can go to your home country? Would that be okay? Free ride to Russia? Yeah. I know what you're saying. 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 The question is, does this boat have 6 or 7 engines? Well, frankly, I don't care. No, actually, I think a lot of you are wondering why you're taking all this abuse. That's what's going on. And I feel sorry that I have to talk about how the Republicans have rigged the elections so that Russians could finance people like Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham. I'm sorry I have to keep bringing that up. But you have to be reminded. We are in the middle of impeachment. And we still haven't seen IRS tax returns and no tapes of Putin. No audio tapes of even Zelensky. It would have exonerated Trump if he just had a nice audio tape. Donald, if you're listening, I want you to get a tape recorder at eBay and hit the record button next time you talk to world leaders so we won't have to go through this impeachment process. Okay? You're watching the Trump rally. He just called Harvard graduates the scum of the earth. That's why they like Trump. I would have said the same thing. I'm very similar to Trump that way. I don't really like the academics. You know, Trump and I aren't that far off. So if you do lose Trump in this election, which you probably will, you can always vote for me in 2020, guys. I'm telling you. He took 15 of my ideas. The border fence idea is mine, not his. The 1,000-mile number I came up with. Of course, the original fence idea was Pat Buchanan's officially. I talked about it too back then, but not officially. Yeah. If you Google my name or have Alexa look up my name, David Sponheim, you'll find that they say that I was a policy driver and a shaper during the George W. Bush era. They have me down as a high-level policy writer. I just can hardly believe that. Yeah, it's just amazing. Somebody loaded some weird stuff about me on Alexa and they read it now. Alexa responds that like I'm some sort of fixture in American politics. I can't explain it. Forget me not. Help the veterans. Dave. That's right. Disabled American Veterans Association. They put these out every year to get donations. See, that's the thing. Trump hasn't really helped the poor veterans. We have a plan to give people $500 a month, a basic income. It's not too much that it'll break the back of our country, but it will give people the necessary funds to survive this upcoming economic hardship people are facing. Whether they're working, their jobs were replaced by automation, this will pick up the slack. I got to get this off the screen. I'm just depressed that we still don't have any tapes of Putin after 3.5 years and 13 hours of conversations. And there's no IRS returns. I'm still upset about that. And that's upsetting a lot of you Republicans, so it's getting old. There are a lot of anti-white groups at the colleges that are still pitching for more affirmative action. They're actually asking for more affirmative action laws in my state. We are waking up in a pile of shit. Just like Elephant wrote in that song, Down on Life. It's true. So this is just a little helping hand from America's trust fund, so to speak. I anticipate this could cost our country up to right around $700 billion. Worst case scenario, though, if everyone drew from it all at once, it would be over $1 trillion, but we would be getting rid of welfare. And you know, a lot of you Republicans are worried about the food stamps that are going to illegal aliens right now. This plan eliminates that completely. So illegal aliens will instead have to go to help houses and pull up free food, which we'll have plenty of. Oh my gosh, Billie Eilish turned 18 today. Well, that's great. Yeah, she's that famous singer who's at the top of the charts with her unique style of singing and her odd, amazing performance art that she does. She's turned 18 today, so she could officially enter this room. She could come and visit us and hang out. She came by our room about 2 months ago because Metanemesis told her that we were here, and she came in the room and she talked about what she was into, and she shared a little bit of trivia which none of us had heard about. But she told us that she had given away one of her jackets from one of her events to the Museum of Rock and Roll History. Well, her music is, if you haven't heard it on the radio, you're kind of out of it. She's really unique. She's got a unique sound. So she's now able to come into our room and actually chat this time. I had to ask her to leave, so. It's good music, yeah. The thing about her music, and I can play you 8 seconds of it, her music appeals to a lot of young girls, young women rather, who are, they feel like she represents them for some reason. Her lackadaisical style of singing, it's kind of an inward conversation she's having with herself in the middle of the song. It's kind of interesting. It's unusual in many respects. So I can, even that's a kind of a cool opener. She went goth. She does a lot of weird stuff to get noticed. But hey, it's put her at the top of the charts, so you can't really stop a bullet from hitting the charts. They call them like lightning fast hits when they get there at the top of the charts. But I'm not really here to talk about popular music. Okay, I think we covered all of the hits there, and let me just go to the other ones. Okay. We had this story come in. I'm just doing a little round robin recap. Sun is likely to cool. Sun is likely to cool down in the next 30 years, causing a mini ice age on Earth, according to India Today. Scientists fear the sun might go into grand minimum, causing it to cool drastically within the next 3 decades, bringing in a mini ice age on Earth. Yeah, they warn about the sun getting dimmer in the next 30 years. The cycle of sun, solar maximum and minimums are being noticed. We're in the lowest solar sunspot activity we've ever had in history. Yeah. And I think this is the final count. Pretty sure. Yep, we have an impeachment. We have enough votes for impeachment. Okay. Mike Decker, got that coming up in the lineup. Okay. We talked a little bit about Boris Johnson being a puppet for the Rothschilds. Yep, there's an example right there of Rothschild encounters with Boris Johnson. Many people are wondering what kind of Brexit will be lying ahead for the UK, especially with his ties to the Zionist elitists, the Rothschild family. Now we know why he may have been pushed to the power position, because he sucks up to those people. And then we've got this image, which is strange and very, very powerful, but kind of shocking too for a lot of you Republicans who are so supportive of Donald Trump. We have a photograph of what appears to be Donald Trump looking at a chemtrail plane. He's seen walking through the cock or the main area of a chemtrail plane. The things that distribute chemicals on your head. Very suspicious, and we definitely think it's Trump. So he's in on this. He's not going to stop chemtrails. The president is essentially a chemtrail puppet. Okay, and this final story here, John Stossel, Trump impeachment. Okay, let's take a look. John Stossel says Trump impeachment, Congress, liberal media obsessed.
We've got other records to say about that are not so, well, at least promising, like debt. It is soaring at an uncontrollable pace. We're told $1 trillion likely this year on top of $1 trillion last year.
Yeah, and why does everyone support Trump at Fox when he's contributed to this massive debt?
On top of $1 trillion+ likely next year. Where are we going with this, John Lonsky? What do you think?
We're going down a hole, and I'll get to that later at the end of the show. I'll play that out of the chute. And this little story that was very interesting. I'll put this into new technologies. We'll feature it again tomorrow night. But they've got new technologies that are able to pull plastic waste out of rivers. This is actually being used in Baltimore's rivers leading into the harbor, Chesapeake Bay. Most ocean plastic starts off in rivers, from bubble curtains to googly-eyed trash wheels. Here are 4 technologies designed to interpret river plastic intercept it before it gets to the sea. These booms are designed to actually suck the plastic into one location where solar panels have sort of a grid machine that'll suck it in. Wow, pretty cool. There's another device that floats along and pulls plastic waste into its center section. That's awesome. Or it can be attached to the standard mooring areas on docks. That's really cool. Whoa, look at that. It's like a little bug eater with a water wheel and a conveyor belt. Love it. Love it. This is awesome stuff. Other booms that could be trapped for river. We need to start doing this, folks. This is huge. This is one of the biggest improvements I've seen yet. Once we do that, with the real problem of environmental cleanup will be dealt with. It's putting a dent in it with devices like that throughout the world. That's what we need to do. And we can't finance it with your tax dollars. The Democrats are lost thinking that's going to help. Okay, and more news from Epstein. Camera footage of Epstein's first suicide attempt has disappeared and nobody knows why. Huh. Okay. Yeah, Zero Hedge has a story. Talk about botched jobs at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. I'm sure Jeffrey Epstein's still alive. No question about it in my eyes. I mean, they saw him alive on the island itself right here 20 days after he supposedly died. No, Trump is an Ashkenazi. He likes Jewish people, Gaxo. In fact, he's a Zionist, Trump is. I like Jewish people, but I'm not a Zionist. That's the difference. This is a new movie called Dead Men Tell No Tales, a documentary.
Dead Men Tell No Tales.
This is going to be a story we'll talk about in a little bit. I'll put this in the lineup. This guy usually does work for
sex trafficker Jeff
Alex, but we'll see what he's going to do here. Paul Joseph Watson. He's a YouTube, you know what those guys are. We'll take a look at that tonight. All right, thank you.
Sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, despite the fact that he should have been on 24/7 suicide watch, was found dead in his jail cell of an apparent suicide. Wow, who could have possibly seen this coming? It's not.
I even said it was going to happen in the show. I was like, yeah, he's obviously going to fake his suicide. That's a Pirates of the Caribbean movie with Johnny Depp. I am in the cutting edge. Every day I do the show, I pick up so many great links from you guys that I can't help but be aware of so many things. Granted, I do a lot of cursory reviews of a lot of these stories, but after the hours when I'm sitting there watching the show, I go deeper into detail. The DoD is going to be studying the 5G network. I talked about that tonight. I don't know. I still think the 5G network needs some safeguards. We're not really happy with what they've got going now. All right, cool. It's a conspiracy, yeah, I know. Well, the thing that Boy and Slat put out in the ocean actually did kind of go underwater. But they did retain some of the plastic, 3,000 pounds of the plastic that was acquired. I'm actually very interested in that stuff. I'm looking at some designs of my own. I'm playing around with SketchUp, and I've got some really interesting concepts that I've been thinking about. I've been looking at the problem that Boy and Slat has of having this big boom out in the middle of the ocean, picking up the garbage patch. And now it's been bogged down, and I've got some really good solutions in mind. I'm not going to talk about them yet, but I think we could really make this happen. Absolutely. I don't think we have a leader right now that will take a lead on environmental cleanup without taxing you, the American taxpayer. What I plan on doing is reapportioning funds from our existing budget, because part of the job is to go through every item in our budget and literally suck down all of the incompetence, all of the incredible graft and corruption and kickbacks, and just get the working model for our country rolling along and take all that extra money and begin paying back our debt and using it, some of that money, efficiently for ways to clean up our environment and sell technologies to other countries. We've had a major shift in weather. 20 degrees where you are. Last week it was 60 degrees. So 60 degrees to 20 degrees Fahrenheit in 1 week is a big shift. I don't know where you're located, but you don't have to share. I would assume on the East Coast. Hey, Now Nero. Now Nero came in and talked about the ocean pipeline. We did touch on the ocean pipeline tonight. It was good. I talked a little bit about how it's done. How we can desalinate water on a big, large scale. The big thing is we're going to have to come up with new jobs in 2021. We're going to have to be looking at a way to get new jobs, and we came up with an idea which I think is revolutionary. Offering solar rooftops to people on a lottery basis, so you don't have to pay for your solar rooftop. The government will fund it with money that's currently in our system or out of an infrastructure bank. And the Homestead Renewal Plan, where people can get jobs fixing up houses and making new houses for people out of old houses. And that money is available. This is $4 billion currently on tap at the home program that could easily be used to do just this. But the rooftop revolution already has a foot in the door. The Army Corps of Engineers are actually working on developing a solar panel production system. And they've actually put this into play and is working. Here's just one of their systems that they've got rolling out, literally. Look at that. These panels are produced in one location. They can roll out and be cut and spliced to fit any size roof. And we could modify these things for installation in your area, and your local people can start building businesses installing rooftop solar systems. We'll give you a 6-week training course, and you can start your own business doing this. It'll be a new startup capital opportunity for people all across the country. All right. And we got a little history lesson tonight, 3-minute history lesson on Vladimir Putin's rise to power and what kind of a threat he poses to the world as he continues to manipulate foreign politics by buying people like Donald Trump. Yeah, we always have rain around here. It's like intermittent rain. Today I got a few drops. Every other day I get rain here. But cumulatively, we don't have much more rain than California. We only get 17 inches where I live, cumulatively. But it's always misting. Whereas California gets a deluge 3 times a year, we get misting all year long. Except for summertime, when it kind of dehydrates out here. All right. We've got the big, huge wrap up here. An Israeli student subjected to foul-mouthed anti-Semitic tirade on a New York subway. Really? Looks like the Jewish Defense League is, or the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, is really busy working overtime. They're trying to make sure that everybody knows that it's not legal to attack people who are Israeli. Fox News. Israeli student Liha Aharon was riding in New York City subway when she became a victim of anti-Semitic slander. Tells Fox News she had asked the female passenger if she could move her belongings so she could sit down. When the woman refused to move her, she says the irate passenger was already targeting the Jewish man with hate speech, then proceeded to direct the hateful comments toward her.
That's my source, my source. You could anything myself, Allahu Akbar. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to delete it.
Is this her 15 seconds of fame? What's going on here?
Jew, bro. You ain't even a Jew. You white. And you black. You nasty. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
You know, the woman is almost barely functional. I mean, what the heck? This is not some major deal going on here. Now you're being very racist against her. Yeah. I love cartoons too. They're so fun to watch. Yeah, we basically borrow all the money we use in our budget. I know, it's kind of a bummer, isn't it? Trump never ever handled the financials. Oh, I'm the king of debt. Remember that? He's the king of debt. Well, it turns out that our government is $23 trillion in debt now. Yeah. Nice, huh? He never solved that problem. No. They borrow money just to keep this rolling, this whole system. Okay, we're going to be taking you back to the fact that the 5G network could be weaponized. And we're going to discuss lasers, another reissue of the Fox News show about how lasers could be used to destroy cars and weapons of dangerous nature could be used against us. And I'll play that in just a second. That's not a cartoon. That really could happen. And Fox News laughingly talked about it like that really did happen. We'll play that for you right after my closer, which is happening right now, by the way. Yeah, it's the end of our show. We do another show tomorrow. Our Thursday show starts with the cooking show at 5 o'clock, where I will be making a dish called mackerel-aroni. Kind of like a tuna casserole, but I call it mackerel-aroni, a product that you can buy on the market called mackerel. Very affordable. I'll show you how to make mackerel-aroni. All right, it's very erroneous. This is it. Me signing off again for another fantastic evening. Thanks for watching, participating, and being a part of our show. Take care.
Gonna make you feel good. Gonna make you feel good. Gonna make you mine. Gonna make you feel good. Gonna make you feel good. Gonna make you mine.
We deserve a better government. One that addresses the real concerns of its people. Now, it seems, so much news is fake, twisting what America stands for. Let's protect our gun rights. against media manipulation. Let's get back to what really matters. Secure, safe schools, fencing, and security for our youth, and a clean environment for everyone. Join us nightly as we discuss America's most important concerns at America's Third Party.